Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is our Manchester United versus Huddersfield FA Cup watch-along. Team news is in. It's early because it's not the Premier League, it's the FA Cup. So it's about 11 minutes earlier than normal. Team news is in, like I said. And a positive for me starting off would be that Angel Gomez is on the bench. We knew that Ethan Hamilton would be in replacing Paul Pogba, who is not available because of illness. Mourinho did say that he would start today, but he pulled out this morning because of illness. So Ethan Hamilton is a man who is on the bench, and Angel Gomez is as well. Both played for under-23s last night. Humiliating 4-0 loss at home. Hamilton we'll talk about in a bit, but obviously Angel Gomez being on the bench is a positive for Manchester United. We can't be critical. We can't be critical because I think one of the angles we were going to go with is why is Chong and Gomez not part of this squad today? Well, Gomez is. So can't moan too much. Mourinho has done that. He has given the fans a little bit of excitement on the bench. Whether he'll actually get on is another matter. I can't see a scenario where Angel Gomez comes on, but I'd like to see that scenario. Because also on the bench is Anthony Martial and Jesse Lingard. So, the team news. As we know, Pogba was not going to play because of illness. Herrera's injured. Rashford's injured. Fellaini long term. Daley Blind as well. So, Romero in goal. Expected that De Gea didn't start. Ashley Young moves to right back. Has to start, doesn't he, Ashley Young? Lindelof and Smalling. So good to see Lindelof in the team with Luke Shaw. No Rojo at all. Don't really understand what's happened to Marcus Rojo recently. Maybe there's some underlying issue with an injury because it's weird why he wouldn't play today. Luke Shaw left back. Matic, Carrick, McTominay. The dynamism, the pace, the tenacity of that midfield three. I've never seen a midfield three as quick as this. I've got to repeat it because you might have missed it. It was so fast. Matic, Carrick and McTominay. Boom! Usain Bolt, watch out. And then Mata, Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. I mean, that team should be good enough. The midfield, McTominay, at some point is going to have to show us what he's all about. Carrick, I do like Carrick. He does bring us some ability to pass forward. Mata and Lukaku, obviously Lukaku has to start every game, doesn't he, as well? And Alexi plays, as does Mata. The bench consists of Joel Pereira, Eric Bailly, welcome back, Darmian, Gomez, Hamilton, Lingard and Martial. So Martial on the bench, as many would have predicted. Lingard on the bench is a bit of a surprise. He normally starts. But the lack of midfield options, which I think would have been totally avoidable if we'd actually done something in the transfer window, leaves us having to recruit Ethan Hamilton as a midfielder. Okay, Captain Obvious. That's the last comment you're ever going to make. See you later. And Young is better at right back than left back for me, says Andrew K. It'd be better left back in the changing rooms, to be honest. I don't really... But then again, having said that, I've got to be fair, Andrew. Who else plays at right back when you want to rest Valencia? Because you have to rest Valencia. So, yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, he's probably the only option because we're in this odd situation at the moment where we don't actually have anybody who can play right back because... we got this... Well, let's just talk about the team for a little bit anyway. Hamilton, Gomez, Lingard will be subbed on, says Harsh Sangara. Not if we're losing, Harsh. If we're losing, he's going to have to chuck the likes of Martial on, isn't he? And Lingard. Come on, people. The midfield comments were banter, light-hearted stuff, says Matthew McFadden. Oh, Matthew, if people don't understand banter now on the United Stand, you need to really get a life. It's all about the banter. Jerome, it's good to see Eric Bailly back. It'd be nice to see Eric Bailly get on for a little bit today because we probably need him for the Sevilla game. Faison Shaman says, Mark's so negative. I am negative at the moment. I'm not going to hide about it. Why should I hide about it? There's a lot of people feeling negative about Manchester United at the moment. We're a negative football side, and until we start playing some positive stuff, I'm not going to be positive about the team lineup that he puts out. And that midfield, for me, is very, very defensive and slow. Carrick, Matic and McTominay. All right, they're all over 6 foot, but they're all under 6 miles an hour. It's slow. But the one thing I would say is that hopefully Michael Carrick can get the ball from back to front quick. We know the problems. I'm not going to avoid the problems about Manchester United at the moment. We are playing crap football. It's boring. And we need to play far better. But the positives for me are that Angel Gomez is on the bench, and that's a step in the right direction. He might not be ready, he might not be good enough, but at least it gives us some excitement in that squad that we're crying out for. So he's probably there because there's nobody else, as somebody said. But Mourinho and Manchester United need to do a hell of a lot more to impress fans at the moment. And I've got no problem with people who are a bit negative about what we're doing as a football club, because our mentality and our sort of identity is up in the air at the moment. But today's a massive week. Massive week. I was talking to Flex on his way up to Huddersfield, because he'll be up there doing the fan cams, and we were talking about Pogba pulling out because of injury. And we were talking about, obviously, this is an FA Cup game. If you're knocked out, you're out. So we've got to win today, or at least get them back to Old Trafford. You've got Sevilla away on Wednesday, where if we get a really bad result, the second leg may be academic. And then next Sunday, we've got Chelsea in the league, which we need to win. So it's a massive week for Manchester United. And my score prediction yesterday was 2-1. I don't think I've ever not predicted Manchester United to win a game. But I think today is going to go one or two ways. If anybody knows what Rashford's injured, Michael Percy. If anybody knows what the Huddersfield team is, and in the context of Huddersfield, whether that's a weakened team, I'd love to know. Because my score prediction for today was 2-1 to Manchester United. But based on the fact that Pogba's not playing, and that midfield really does cause me some concern, my score prediction today is twofold. I think United are either going to win this comfortably 3 or 4-0, or it's going to be a draw. Dependent on the United that turn up. I mean, Huddersfield are not a very good team. Chris Smalling playing is causing a few people a few issues. As I said, I think we need to be a little bit realistic about Chris Smalling. Obviously, when Bay's fit, he probably doesn't play. But over the course of the season, Bay's been injured a lot, and he stepped up to the plate. So I've got no real issues with Chris Smalling. I'm just typing out the team for you so it goes along the bottom of the screen. Subs are Pereira of the Joel variety. Darmian was on there. Who else was on the bench? Hamilton, Gomez, Lingard, Martial. I've forgotten who else was on the bench. There must be another defender on the bench. Bay. Should have known that. It's Eric Bay on the bench. Give me a minute. Right. Team news going on the bottom there for you then. So you've got Romero in goal, Ashley Young right back, Smalling and Lindelof as centre backs, Luke Shaw left back, Matic, Carrick, McTominay in midfield 3 we presume, Sanchez on the left, Mata on the right, Lukaku up front. I mean, that poses a question in itself, doesn't it? Mourinho Talk says, when you're typing that midfield out, don't bother being quick. Yeah, good one that. Professor Zoom says, I'm more concerned with Lindelof than Smalling. 4-3-3 says Kieran Byrne. Let's see how that works. Do you think Pogba is actually ill, or is it a lie, says Aditya? I don't know. Mourinho spoke quite positive about him yesterday. X Vitality X, why not Chong over Hamilton? Well, Hamilton is a midfielder. He's a centre midfielder. Chong isn't that. So I do sort of understand that. We did need to play a midfielder today. They haven't got Moy, Huddersfield. Would love to have seen Chong today, says Max Longton, even as a sub. Yep. Pogba's ill, Tyrone Williams. For people who hadn't realised that, Pogba is ill, so he won't play. McTominay again, really, says Damien Hosty. Well, let's touch on this McTominay thing, because obviously, in relation to him, we have a situation with Manchester United's midfield at the moment. And that is that he is not... The midfield is weak, isn't it? Let's have a look at this midfield. The midfield from the middle of September to the start of November, when Paul Pogba was out with that injury, was poor. We lost to Huddersfield in October. We lost to Chelsea. We were poor throughout that month. Pogba came back and we got back to being decent in November, and then it tailed off a bit in December, and then we got some good results in January. But when United don't have Pogba, United are poor in the midfield anyway. Fellaini's injured, Herrera's injured. We knew Fellaini was not settled at the club in January. We know that Herrera's not had a good season this year. Carrick's been out for most of the season, so that leaves you Matic if Pogba's out and McTominay. I think that Manchester United should have gone and got a midfielder in January because we're at a very, very important part of our season. And if we mess up, it's going to be because of the midfield. We know all season that the midfield doesn't get the ball quick enough from midfield to attack. And we are weak in the midfield. I mean, look at the midfield today. You've got Carrick, 36 years of age, who's had a health issue, only just coming back. Matic, who I think has been pretty average for 3 months. McTominay, who nobody really knows whether he's going to be good enough or not. And Hamilton, who many people who watch the youth team would say he's nothing special. And that's our midfield today with the option off the bench. I think we should have gone and bought somebody. I think with the way we've left ourselves so short in the midfield is unacceptable, and Mourinho has been here for 18 months, and I am a fan of Mourinho, but I will call it out when I see an issue, and that midfield is unacceptable. It's not acceptable that we've left ourselves in that situation, that an illness to our star player leaves us with a midfield like that. It's an issue, and I tell you what, Pogba better be well by Wednesday, because even if he is, I've got massive... If your midfield's weak, it doesn't matter how good your defence and your attack is. It's the midfield. It's called the midfield for a reason, because it's in the middle of your pitch. If they're rubbish or they're not good enough, your attack doesn't get supplied and your defence gets swamped. And I think for the start of February, with key months coming up, we've left ourselves really weak in the midfield, and I don't really understand why. And on top of that, we've intensified that because we've actually got 3 midfield options all out on loan, all better than what we've got on the bench today. Fosu Mensah, Pereira and Swansea, all better than McTominay, all definitely better than Hamilton, all on loan. And I can't understand why we've left ourselves short. And that is my concern today. And that is why I'm thinking United are either going to turn up today, play great football and win 3 or 4-0, or we're going to really struggle, and I think we'll get away with a draw. I can't see us losing, but I think it's going to go one or two ways. Herrera is carrying a muscle injury, Kieran Byrne, and Rashford's got a muscle injury as well. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting game today. I think it's going to be far, far more interesting than we thought, because we've got that opportunity to really backs to the wall, I suppose, in some ways. Without Pogba, we're sort of expecting a little bit of a concerning game ahead, and we've obviously got a couple of kids on the bench. Martial's on the bench, Lingard's on the bench, so we've got some flair on the bench. But whether this starting 11 is going to be good enough or not, it does give us a little bit of concern, doesn't it? Why no Martial and Lingard, says J-Nil. He's just not picked him. Sunak says Swansea is a centre-back, not a midfielder. Does anyone want to tell him where Swansea played the last 3 games of last season? Yeah, sit down. We are the new Chelsea, loaning out good players, says Akil. Attack, 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 says Ashish. If that midfield makes us attack, I will stand corrected like a man in an orthopaedic shoe. That midfield, to me, stinks of sideways passing and slowness. Not in the case of Carrick, but it depends who's holding the midfield. Charles says no Rojo. This is definitely a Rojo game. I don't know why Rojo would not be involved today. It's a bit of an odd one, that. I thought Pogba would have been playing today. Sorry, Rojo would have played today, so maybe he's carrying an injury. Midfield is the heart of your football play, and with this week midfield I see has been dominated by Huddersfield, like how we did against Blackburn last season. Let's have a quick look at the Huddersfield team, because I don't know much about Huddersfield anyway, but I'd be interested to see what their lineup is, if you know what I mean. That's not Huddersfield, by the way. That would be Somerset. Huddersfield Town, their lineup today consists of Loughzel in goal, Congola, Billing, Van La Parra, Williams, Ince, Quana, Mooney, Sanka, Schindler and Hadagonajan. I don't know anything about Huddersfield to know. He's made 4 changes to his starting lineup, with Moy and Hogg and Maloney and Pritchard left out. So Moy has a knee injury and Pritchard is cup tied. So two of them are enforced, to be fair. So yeah. It's quite a strong Huddersfield team then, isn't it? Let's have a look at some of your comments. Can't wait for the game. Tahith Chung is getting a vasectomy, says safe. Really? Smalling's got no business playing today, says Andrew K. Well, he's probably resting Phil Jones for midweek. Be prepared for that, because Valencia's definitely being rested and De Gea's definitely being rested. Mourinho is not taking this competition seriously, says the Spookster. On the contrary, I think he is. I think this is one of his best opportunities of winning a trophy. Sean Fitzgerald, I think Mourinho is giving Pogba a break to sort himself out, and Mourinho will try to fit him easier when he comes back. Could be. Oh God, I'll answer this. The Haginator says, Mark, please explain to me why you're Mourinho in. Because I believe in Mourinho that he is the best manager in world football, and that is based on facts. It's based on what he's achieved in the game. Nobody can come close to what he's achieved in the game, and I do think he has the intelligence and the ability to reinvent himself and Manchester United. If he continues down the road of playing this, when we get one ahead, we'll park the bus for the last 20 minutes, let's keep it defensive and let's keep it, not fast from back to front, he will fail. He will fail. And I don't want him to fail, but he will fail if he sticks to what Mourinho's mentality to football always has been. That type of football just doesn't work at the moment. The teams that are being successful at the moment are teams that are pressing high up the pitch, move the ball very quickly, playing expansive, exciting football. That is the way of the football world at the moment. And as I've said many a time, the reason Mourinho struggles, the reason teams like even Allardyce is struggling, they got done over massively by Arsenal the other week, or even on the continent, when you think of your more defensive sides, look at Juventus. It's unfair to call them defensive sides. They're just well-organised teams with talent to hurt you up front. But Juventus at home, not many teams have been to Juventus and done what Spurs did midweek, which is dominate the possession in the opposition's half. And these are well-organised teams. These are Italian defenders like Chiellini, who, they can keep a clean sheet for a month if you ask them to. They ain't never changing the sheets. But this is the way of the world. Simeone at Atletico Madrid, they're not as effective as they used to be, because high press, high numbers, quick football is swamping these teams. And the response to it is not to try and defend against it, it's to actually attack that attack and be more expansive yourself. I think Mourinho has to figure that out at some point, and if he does, I believe he is still the right man for Manchester United. But I've said it many a time, I back Mourinho, I like Mourinho. He frustrates me a lot about what he does. One thing today, I don't understand why he's neglected the midfield so much. We were speaking about this in the summer, and if anyone can remember the summer last year when we were doing the daily transfer shows, I kept saying we don't need one midfielder like Matic or Fabinho, we need two. Because actually, Carrick's his career's definitely slowed down over the last few years. Fellaini's not good enough, and that was based on the fact that I thought Herrera would be good this year, which he hasn't. I think we left ourselves a midfielder short. So I'm a bit confused as to why we've done that. And today we see the result of the naivety around our midfield. That we are having to put an untested kid on the bench, and we're having to play McTominay as a starter. And McTominay does worry me, because I'm expecting him to do something great at some point, because so many people are saying what a good player he is. But we haven't seen that yet. But now he's established as a first-team player, and we still haven't seen it. So that worries me a little bit. But I do back Mourinho, but he's got to reinvent himself. So for those people who are against him a little bit, I understand why you are. But the reason I'm still Mourinho in is because I always have been. I like him as our manager. I like what he did to the press yesterday. But his team's got to be more like he was in that press conference. And I think he's got to be more like it on the touchline. And we've got to be more aggressive in the way we play football. I think we're a very apathetic team. We're very sort of slow in what we do. And that's the problem for me. So yeah, we need to be far better in that sense. But there we go. There we go. Right. Let's have a look at Jasmine. You can go as well. Is Schindler on the list? Yes, he is. okay, we need to face the facts. United simply are not good enough presently. Mourinho clearly is not the right man. His style never changes. Liverpool, Spurs, City, much better managed. I think we'll be all right, lads. I do think we'll be all right. I think we just need to give him this sort of period of time to try and turn it around. He won't be stupid to the fact that this way of football is a problem. But there we go. So team news, people are asking what the team news. Romero in goal, Ashley Young right back, Lindelof, Smalling, Luke Shaw back four. Matic, McTominay and Carrick as a midfield three. Not a lot of pace in there, we accept that. And then you've got Sanchez on the left, Lukaku up front and Mata on the right. I tell you what, I think we can all... I think it's time to accept that Sanchez was bought to replace Martial. Now, whatever you think about that, all I will say about that is that we are just in a situation where that's what the manager's decided to do. I don't necessarily agree with that. Everyone knows I like Anthony Martial, but it's up to Jose Mourinho what he does, isn't it? And he decided in January to go and spend a load of money on a player to play a player in a position we were already good in and neglect the midfield, which is a bit weird. Mourinho should aim to turn us into a fast counter-attacking team. It would be the perfect way to deal with our rivals and is part of our tradition. That's from Mr. United. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. And I'm just messaging Flex because he's just asking me something. Sorry for this. Jose is replacing Martial. What a fool, says United _. Should have got Malcolm, says Kai Marnie. Do you think we need a right-sided natural winger, says Sidanth. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. We went out and spent God knows how much money on Alexis Sanchez to replace our best player on the left wing when we need a right winger and a midfielder. I mean, it's that sort of logic that I think if things go wrong, he will be criticised for. But I have to believe that it's going to work out with Jose. I do, because I don't want to go down the road of being Mourinho out. I don't want to do that. And also, as I keep saying, I don't really see anybody out there that's available that's better than him. And also, if we were to get rid of Mourinho, then we're starting from scratch again. And if we're starting from scratch, why teams like Man City, Liverpool and Spurs have got momentum, where did we go if we're starting from scratch? Can a manager come in and hit momentum like they've got straight away? No, they can't. They're going to come in, they're going to go, I don't like these players, I want to play this way, I need to spend more money. The club aren't going to sack Mourinho. No way. Mourinho might walk, but the club won't sack Mourinho because the amount of money they'll waste having to do another project. But as I said the other night, when it comes to Manchester United's board, you've got to ask that question, why the hell did we go out and why the hell did we, as a club that's always been an attacking club, why have we appointed 3 defensive-minded coaches since then? The recruitment of managers has got to be questioned. Not so much Mourinho, but certainly Van Gaal and Moyes were very weird. Very weird. If you knew anything about those 2 managers, you could see what was coming a mile off in relation to style of play. If that style had worked, fine, but the style of play was never a good marriage with Manchester United. Christopher Curtin, Mark, stop being a hypocrite. Mourinho is destroying Manchester United and its players. The true football fan, Mkhitaryan fee was what we played for Sanchez. He wasn't free. Yes, that's correct. And remember, they're all the wages. Jordan Allen, are people forgetting there's a massive game midweek? If Martial is on the bench midweek, then moan. Yes, but yeah, I can see that. I can see both sides, but I still think regardless of whether Martial starts on Wednesday, it's the fact that Alexis Sanchez has started the last however many games he's been at Manchester United on the left wing. So that's obviously Alexis Sanchez's position, is what I'm trying to say. So whether Martial starts against Sevilla or not, he isn't going to be starting in his position, is he? He's going to be starting on the right. Nico Folds, see you later. You're not commenting anymore. Don't worry, I don't read out their comments. They're just nasty little trolls, so we get rid of them. Jared's laughing about Andrew Ellis. Oh, where's his comment? There's so many comments, it's hard for me to see them. But Andrew always has been Mourinho out. You've got to respect him for that, even if you don't agree with him like I do. Natisha says Mourinho is defensive-minded, but up to last 2 weeks had the second highest goal scored in the league. Ivan Passarelli, I love the name, says, I'm not Jose out yet. However, all great coaches want to win, but they especially want to win their way. And Sander Seeger says, only put out 2 comments. Ha ha ha. Who is Hamilton? Says Philip Willock. Ethan Hamilton from the youth setup. Quite a decent player at under 18 level, but mainly because of his physicalities. He was a lot bigger than everybody else. Moving up to under 23, he doesn't have that advantage, and he's not set the world on fire at all. Many would say that there are other better midfield options than him, but not expecting great things from Ethan Hamilton, to be honest. But if he was to get on, then I think that what you've got to look at is, remember Marcus Rashford was a last option, and it worked out okay with him. Andy, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Mark, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, not so bad.
You've seen the team news. You've seen the team news. What's your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'm happy that Luke Shaw's playing because he could have so easily probably stuck Darmian. Is Darmian injured? Sorry.
He's on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. So he could have stuck Darmian at right back and Young at left back.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy to see Shaw playing. I agree with you about Rojo. That's a bit strange that he's not involved in the squad at all. He must be carrying an injury. But, I mean, the midfield does concern me a little bit. Lack of mobility, lack of speed, lack of sort of forward thinking. And up front, Mata on the right wing, so we know what we're going to get from him. A lot of cutting inside, not a lot of paces. I do like Mata. I think he's a brilliant player, but he's not a winger for me. Lukaku, like I said, he's going to play every single game. And Sanchez on the left wing, I think that's standard. I'm happy with Sanchez playing because he still needs to integrate himself in with the squad, really, because he's still he is a new player, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Just a quick thing, it just popped up to me when I have a rest, things pop into my head. Please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner if you're new. You're going to love it on the United Stand. Fantastic community, make the show what it is. You won't regret it if you're new, and I know we get new people on the watch along. So subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and get involved with it. We're live every night at 8 o'clock, and we do more than that as well. But the second thing I wanted to say is after Manchester United games, we do open up Skype for you to call in. And I think tonight's going to be a very interesting one. So we're live all the way through till full time anyway, but then we take your calls for about an hour afterwards. And I think this game, whatever the result, is going to be a very interesting one to talk about. Some people feel that Pogba's been left out, not because he's ill. It's an excuse, Andy. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't see why Jose would lie, to be honest. And again, it is a little bit concerning that he's not playing today, but at the same time, I think we do need to keep him fresh for the Sevilla game, and it takes him out the firing line a little bit as well. Because if he comes in and he has another bad performance today, the fans are going to be on his back again, and that's not going to help him going into the Sevilla game. So I think part of this problem is, well, a large portion of this problem is Ander Herrera. He's been nowhere near the player that we saw last season, and if he even found half of that form this season that he had last season, I still agree with you that we would need another midfielder, but the burden would be eased on Pogba, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of, I mean, Gibran just says there, Mourinho's trying to protect Pogba, and that may well be the case, because I've seen it in the live comments a little bit, and it's true that this game today is probably not the right game for Pogba, especially with Sevilla coming up in midweek. Away to Huddersfield, we're not playing free-flowing football at the moment. Unless Pogba pulls out, you know, a 10 out of 10 performance where he runs the midfield and everything goes right, there's going to be some level of criticism for him. European football is obviously going to suit him a little bit better because it's going to be less frenetic and more space. So, you know, whether the illness is true or not, I think maybe he is ill. Or maybe both Mourinho and Pogba have had a chat and said, look, today's probably not the right sort of game for you, and we'll keep you fresh for Sevilla on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely.
We go through the team, everybody who's missed it. Romero, Ashley Young moves to right back, Lindelof, Smalling, Shaw. You're happy that Shaw's back? Yes. Lindelof coming in. We know, I would have thought Rojo would have played. Eric Bailly's back on the bench. But I think Lindelof's a real positive as well. He played really, really well in November. I felt, unfortunately, we changed from a back three to a back four around the Man City game and never went back to it, even though it was a really good system for us. Lindelof's not really done anything wrong. He did at Huddersfield in October, so it's interesting that he's playing them again. But I'm glad that Lindelof's playing. I think people are starting to call him a flop again, and I think that's a bit unfair because he did play well in November, and then he's just been left out a lot since.
Yeah, it's very unfair to call him a flop. Like he did cost us the game against Huddersfield, but like I was saying to you last week after the Huddersfield game, you can't base a player off. And that goes for the manager as well. You can't base them off one game. That's ridiculous. You can give them criticism and say, that they played really bad or the tactics were bad. I get that, but you can't just say, oh, he was a rubbish signing. He's a flop after one game because him, Chris Smalling, and Rojo were absolutely immense in the month of November. And like you say, Lindelof, I thought he was getting a bit of the Mickey treatment when we signed Mickey. You know, he played 45 minutes in the derby, got brought off at half time. We didn't see him for 3 months. Seems a little bit like that with Lindelof as well. I don't know if... Well, Jose must do it on purpose, maybe to get a reaction out of the player, but I can't see what he did wrong, really, so it's a strange one. But I'm really happy to see him back.
It's funny, really, because Tejano wants Wanyama to play on Pogba's position. Well, I think Wanyama's quite a defensive player, to be fair. I think that goal he scored against Liverpool was a worldie that no one really ever expected him to do. I remember Harry Kane saying, we tell him not to shoot in training. But... what I would say is that I'll bring a score prediction in here from you, Andy, because I did say 2-1, but the not having Pogba really does make me readdress my score prediction, but it's not totally negative. I think we're either going to see a really boring game and it'll be a draw, or I've got a funny feeling it'll be the other extreme where everything sort of clicks and we win 3 or 4-0. And I say that because although there's some of our parts may be worse because we're missing Pogba, there's no Lingard, Martial, Valencia, De Gea, a lot of players missing. Actually, when you look at the players that have coming in, they're coming in with skills that we've missed. I.e., if Lindelof can pass the ball from the back, so if Lindelof can get the ball quicker from the back, which he can do than Jones and Smalling, then you've got Carrick who loves to play a 30-40 yard pass forward. Although it's not as good a team as last week, with Carrick and Lindelof in the midfield and the defence, we might be able to move the ball quicker from back to front, which is something we've failed to do for a long time.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping as well. And Luke Shaw and Ashley Young on the wings, they'll be eager to get forward at every opportunity. Smalling being good in the air, that's fantastic. Like I say, Lindelof can play the ball out from the back. And I just wanted to mention Scott McTominay as well. I do agree with you that it is... I failed to see what his quality is, but I think it's important that with him, especially being from the youth, that we do back him. I hope fans don't get on his back as much as they've been getting on Pogba's back, because it is important that we sort of stick behind the youth players, especially as they're coming through. They need every fan support.
I agree. Romando says, why so many slow players today? Let's move on to that midfield three. Carrick, Matic and McTominay. I sarcastically said I've never seen such a quick midfield three in my life. It's a very slow midfield three. But speed is not always about literally running fast. It's about how quick you move the ball. And Carrick can move the ball quicker forward than Pogba. And Pogba would kick his ass in a sprint. So I think it's Matic. I just don't get Matic. I think Matic is the player I didn't want us to sign. But when he signed, he had a really good first 6 weeks, and then he's gone back to being, I think, a bit average. So he needs to step up. Carrick's a player I've got a lot of time for, but we know he's coming towards the end. And then McTominay, like you, I don't really get it. I don't understand it. But Sir Alex Ferguson, Carrick, Mourinho all speak very highly of him. There must be something there that we haven't seen yet. And this is the sort of game where hopefully today we will start to see it, because from a player that Mourinho had highlighted as I want to develop him this year, he's suddenly not that player anymore. Hamilton's had to take that role on the bench. He's now a first team Manchester United midfielder because there's nobody else. So big game for him. Very much got a lot of experience with him in Carrick and Matic. So the platform's there for McTominay to do well. I suppose the only concern is I don't know much about Huddersfield's midfield, but if they have got a bit of tenacity and pace, that could cause us a little bit of problems in the midfield. Yeah,
definitely. And the one positive I can spin about the three midfielders is because of McTominay's inexperience. Having Carrick in there, you know, he's vastly experienced. He's won Champions League with us. Matic, he's a Premier League title winner as well, so they'll see him right. They'll tell him, you know, oh, move over there, cover. So I think that's the one positive I can spin on it. I hope to God that McTominay's not a Fellaini Mark II, but over the coming months we'll see if he really is or not. I don't think anyone's as bad as Fellaini though, to be fair.
And just for the three up front, we think playing a 4-3-3. So Sanchez on the left, Mata on the right, Lukaku up front. I mean, I would like to have seen Rashford playing up front today. Whether he would have dropped Lukaku for him or not is, you know, doesn't really matter because Rashford's not fit. Sanchez out on the left, Mata on the right. I mean, it is a you know, in world football, that is a three that should be more than capable of doing something against Huddersfield. But as I said the other night, we don't create enough chances, so a little bit of pressure on them today. I expect Sanchez to put in another good performance. Yeah, definitely.
Lukaku, I think he needs a goal to sort of. I can't even remember when his last goal. Oh, it was Huddersfield, wasn't it? At Old Trafford.
Yes, massive crossing from the left. Yeah,
that was a brilliant goal. That was. But again, the criticism Lukaku gets, I agree. Some of it is fair, but some of it is unfair. He doesn't get a lot of service, but he does need to work on that first touch. If that first touch hasn't improved by sort of maybe the middle of next season, I think then we can start asking, you know, what is going wrong here. Mata on the right, again, like I've already said, I don't think he is a winger, but he'll put in a consistent performance like he always does. Sanchez, I think I saw someone in the comments saying it as well. If Martial doesn't start in any position on Wednesday night, which I think he will, then I think we have got a bit of a concern with that, because I totally agree with you. If we've signed Sanchez to replace Martial, what is the point in that? There is no point. Moving our best player out of position is just, it's unforgivable for me. And if I'm sort of 65% Jose in at the moment still. But if Mourinho was to sell Martial, I'd be tipped to Jose out. I would. I think that would be absolutely unforgivable.
I've got to say, I mean, I hope that situation never ever develops, but I'd have to agree if we did end up in a situation where Anthony Martial was moved out of the club this summer based on what he's done this season, I'd have big question marks over Mourinho. Matthew McFadden says midfield is like a tricycle in a Formula 1 race. Lineup doesn't strike me with too much confidence, but Lindelof's return is good to see. Come on, United. I mean, what's your sort of score prediction as it stands at the moment, Andy, before a ball's been kicked?
I think I'm going to go 1-0 United. I think it's going to be quite a boring game, but I think we're just going to edge it. I think I can see Mata scoring. I'm going to go 1-0.
I mean, you know what? I was speaking to Flex. He was on his way up to Huddersfield, and we were talking about Sevilla because he's going over to Sevilla for the Champions League. So we'll have a vlog and a fan cam and everything like that over there. But I was talking to him and I said, you know what? It's going to be very interesting, the fan cams, because I was saying, you know, please do ask the fans at the ground what they're thinking about the week ahead and where we're going to be a week tomorrow night after the Chelsea game, which I'll ask you in a minute, Andy. But we were both saying, you know, this game is really important. It's an FA Cup game. We're not going to win the league. The Champions League is unlikely. So the FA Cup's our biggest chance of a trophy. And we're going into it a little bit. Well, I think, let's be generous, we're uncertain what United we're going to get today. So, you know, if we do lose, I think if we were to lose this game, I can see the tide starting to turn even more. It is turning already. Some would say unfairly. I think it's a bit unfair. But lose today, and it's not just losing to Huddersfield again. It's like we're not probably winning a trophy this season. You won 2 last year. We're going to be many, many points behind Man City in the Premier League. And then all hopes on the Champions League. With the week ahead, FA Cup game kicking off in half an hour, Sevilla on Wednesday night, Chelsea next Sunday. What are you expecting from that? Effectively, we've got to win 2 of those games today. Well, we've got to beat Chelsea because we need the 3 points. A draw today back at Old Trafford, I presume, for a replay wouldn't be the end of the world. And Sevilla, We just, again, score, draw at least.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to get back on the horse, don't we, so to speak, after that shocking loss against Newcastle. If we go out the FA Cup tonight, that's because Mourinho, he prides himself. Like when we won the so-called treble last season, in Mourinho's words, it wasn't a treble, it was a double, wasn't it? Because the Charity Shield doesn't count. But he would be absolutely kicking himself if he didn't win us a bit of silverware this season, because he prides himself on that, and you can't really knock him for that. So the FA Cup is our only chance of silverware, because for me, I don't think we are going to progress far in the Champions League. I think semi-finals would be brilliant, but I think that may be being a bit unrealistic, depending on who the draw is. I'm actually going to that Chelsea game next week at Old Trafford, and I cannot wait. I've never been this excited to go to a Man United game in months, because it's going to be an absolute cauldron. And I hope everyone gives Conte the abuse that he deserves, because I hate him so much, Antonio Conte. So, and I agree. I do think we'll beat Chelsea. I think they've been massively inconsistent this year, a bit like us, Spurs and Liverpool. So, and Sevilla midweek, we do need to score, I think, in Sevilla if we are going to progress, because I don't know how well they're doing in La Liga, but I mean, everyone gets themselves up, don't they, for when Man United come to town. So we definitely need, even if we were to lose 2-1 in Sevilla, that wouldn't be, it'd be bad, but it wouldn't be the end of the world, because at least we'd take them back to Old Trafford with an away goal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one thing we know that's going to happen in Sevilla, and I don't want to talk about it too much because obviously we'll have lots of previews about it, Spanish football, quick movement of the ball, and I think you look at that midfield of United today, and we're talking about Huddersfield and how tenacious and fast they're going to be. With all due respect to Matic and Carrick and McTominay to a certain extent, if they come up against players who move the ball quick, like if that midfield three was up against Man City today, I'd say, can we just take a 2-0 loss and move away? Because they would absolutely tear us apart. And also Smalling and Lindelof, they're not the quickest either. I think Man City would beat us blindfolded today, because we're so slow from midfield and centre-back positions. And Smalling's not slow, but his brain's slow around football. You know, intricacy sends him into all sorts of problems. Kev Ashford's in the live comments. Hello, Kev. So yeah, we've got to beat Chelsea. I think we've got to beat Chelsea. Sevilla, we've just got to get out of there with a result. I totally accept at the moment that we're not playing good football. So I'm not expecting us to reinvent the wheel in the next week. We're going to have to grind out results, and at the end of the day, that's what Mourinho's good at. So I would expect us to do it, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, and today is going to be very difficult in itself. I did see a comment. Unfortunately, I knocked the live comments feed by accident because I had paused it to read this comment out, but it was basically along the lines of, I do not want Alexis Sanchez at this club if it means Anthony Martial is going to leave, which is quite a big statement for somebody to make. Look, Alexis Sanchez at this moment in time is a better player than Anthony Martial, definitely. But I think Anthony Martial can be a better player than Alexis Sanchez when he's 25. So I can see what that fan is on about. And also, I know he's not a youth player, Anthony Martial, but he's basically come through as a kid and been developed at this club. Alexis Sanchez has developed himself at Barcelona and Arsenal. So the affiliation that United fans have with Martial, it's going to take a long time for Sanchez to develop that. And he probably never will, because by the time he does that in 2-3 years, he'd be looking to retire anyway. So it's an interesting one about Anthony Martial. I don't know what you think about it, Andy. Do you really think he'll move him on, or do you think it's just it's a weird one? I think he's been our player of the year. I really do. But Mourinho just seems any little thing, he'll punish him.
I don't know what it is. Like, I think I've said it to you before. I don't know. I think it might be a bit far-fetched if Mourinho does it on purpose, because there's too many things for me. So, example, like the fans love Luke Shaw and want him to be played, but again, like Martial, every sort of bad aspect to Luke Shaw, if there is any, is highlighted. If he has 5 bad minutes, then he doesn't play the next game. Same as Martial. The majority of Man United fans don't like Fellaini, don't want him near the team, and again, he will play him whenever possible. Lukaku, some are calling for him to be dropped, and of course that prompted the response from Mourinho, didn't it? He's undroppable. So for me, I don't know if he does do it to wind the fans up, but it seems a little bit like that. I don't know if Mourinho would dare to do that, because Man United fans, well, they're the best fans in the world, aren't they? And we do have quite a lot of say, I think.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would say about Jose Mourinho that I said when we first got him, don't expect the youth to get loads and loads of games because he doesn't really do it that much. Two, he is a man who is very, very stubborn. And I like that. The stubbornness is a good thing. But where he should not be stubborn is with Manchester United fans, as you were saying there. At other clubs like Chelsea, they're a small club and you can be bigger than that club because they can only get 38,000 in. United have got billions of fans and you need the fans at Manchester United. And maybe Mourinho's been a little bit slow to accept that, because I agree with you. There does seem to be things that he does that are either ridiculously coincidental, that he sticks up for players the fans don't want, and he goes against players that the fans do like. So Luke Shaw, Martial, fans like him. He treats them badly. Fellaini, Lukaku to a certain extent is still bedding himself in, throws himself in front of a bus for those players, but doesn't do it for the fan favourites. So I can see why people would think, oh, he's being a bit antagonistic, but he can't do that. Look, I want Mourinho to stay, but if he doesn't start pleasing the fans, then he will lose, because every Manchester United manager does. But what I've got to say is Angel Gomez is on the bench today, and I said put Gomez or Chong on the bench today and give the fans a bit of excitement. So he has done that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm hoping that he gets a little bit more than the 5 minutes he got against Yeovil. He was absolutely brilliant in that little cameo. I remember that well. But I can't see, unless we're sort of 4-5-0 up, which again I can't see. I don't think Gomez is getting on today really, which is a shame. Yeah, like I said, it offers the fans a little bit of encouragement and a little bit sort of more positive thinking towards the game that otherwise they wouldn't have.
Yeah, it's I don't see a scenario where Angel Gomez or Hamilton come on, to be honest, because unless we do what I said and we're 3 or 4-0 up with 20 minutes to go, which some people would say you've got more chance of being knighted. If we're losing, he's not going to throw kids on. If it's a tight draw, he's not going to put kids on. So it is a bit of lip service putting Gomez on there, but at least he is there. And Ryan C says he could play, so we'll see. Yeah, that was my little Sebastian screaming in the back. We weren't screaming, he was just shouting Jose out in baby language, I think, as somebody said. We are the most popular team in the world, says Pedro Romero. We are. But I mean, just very quickly, Andy, I'll let you get off in a minute. But that was something that I meant to bring up on the show last night, but I didn't as well. We are the most supported club in the world, as everybody knows. But look, outside of the UK, there's a massive world of fans out there, and we all love you on the United Stand. And I think the United Stand does a lot for the global growth of Manchester United support, because we get more and more people involved. But a lot of global fans who are coming across the Premier League and have no affiliation to any club, I'm sorry, Manchester United need to be wide awake to this, the board. When they're looking at a team to support, are they going to watch United games and go, I'm going to support them? Or are they going to support Man City or Liverpool or Spurs because they're playing very attacking football? And that's something United need to be careful about. Not in a one-season glimpse, but this has been like it for 5 years now. And I think United will struggle to bring in new fans playing this type of football. Do you think that's a worry, or do you think it's a bit too sort of technical to say that and people will always support United just because of the club's name?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think the name Manchester United, every single person knows that around the world, even if you're not a football fan. We make massive amounts of revenue. We make the most revenue in the world, don't we? You hear Ed Woodward going on about social media and all that rubbish. I don't agree with that, but I think there's a little bit of concern with sort of the older fans as well, because I think they deserve to be listened to. Like every single fan does deserve to be listened to, but like you saw with the old chap from the Munich video, how he lived through it all. Absolutely fantastic video that was, and you see a lot of them because what it is, I'm a season ticket holder, and the demand for away tickets is ridiculous. You have to be a season ticket holder for 4 years before you can get to away games. So I think that's partly why our away support is the best in the country, because it's the hardcore fans that go to every single home game. And you see a lot of them, they're quite sort of oldish, aren't they? From the fan cams anyway. Yeah, and they're starting to say like, oh, our style of football is crap. I've been used to fast, free flowing football. So that's a little bit of a concern as well. But in terms of recruiting new fans, I think Manchester United, I don't see it as a concern for me, because we're known worldwide. We're an absolutely fantastic club, and that's something that Man City can never buy.
It's interesting. You've just prompted something in my head that I had meant to share in the week. Lynn Hall says Smalling and Lindelof. This could be a very nervous defence, not confident. I want to come back to Smalling in a minute, but it just reminded me something. Then I remember when Van Gaal. I went Van Gaal out the Christmas before he was sacked, and I think we should have sacked him that Christmas. But we waited, and he won an FA Cup, so fair enough. And then we got Jose in, but I remember probably around the October time before that, people were saying that the fans at the ground, the hardcore fans, the away fans, wanted Van Gaal to go because the style of football was just not what they want. And that, when you start to lose that hardcore, then that is where it really starts to escalate. The Manchester United away support is arguably the best in Europe, certainly the best in the Premier League, and they'll always sing for you, and they did it for Van Gaal. But when they're not happy with the football and that starts filtering out, that is a problem. So look, history's there for us for people to learn from it in many different ways. And Mourinho, who was a protege of Van Gaal, it's a very recent history at Manchester United. He should just have a very quick look at it and see, right, I don't want to make those mistakes. I don't want to be sacked by another Premier League club, because it's there for him to see. And if the fans aren't happy with the style of football, I think he thinks, oh, well, I'm second in the league. That's my excuse. I'm second in the league. We've scored loads of goals, got lots of points. I'm second in the league. Leave me alone. My reputation is fine. Sit down, fans. But it isn't good enough. Unfortunately, second is not good enough for Manchester United. It's still first place. You're the first place loser, so he has to grasp that the fans not being happy the way he's playing can become quite a precarious position for Manchester United. Montel Jordan says, in terms of quality, don't you think with the right setup, do you think this is the most exciting team, for example? And he's talking about some of the players. Yeah, I do believe we've got the players. I do think we've got the players.
We've got fantastic individuals: Martial, Sanchez, Pogba, De Gea, as long as we keep in, that's paramount as well. Lukaku, when he's on top form, we've got unbelievably gifted technical players. But the style of football we play, I do agree with the fans. It's boring. It's not what we used to see as Man United fans. And to be fair, well, it obviously depends when you were born, but I was born in the 90s, so I have been spoiled. A lot of us have been spoiled with Fergie's football. It's fantastic. The best manager that's ever lived. So I think Mourinho he gets punished from that as well, because we've been so successful and so dominant for decades. We're we're impatient. We want to see that football again as quickly as possible, and it's now approaching. Well, it's 5 years now since Fergie left, and we haven't won a league. And fans are gonna, understandably, because I'm getting like that as well, I'm getting impatient. I want to see that football back. And I don't get it as well, because we were playing that football when at the start of the season we were smashing teams 4-0, and everything looked rosy. And then all of a sudden we lost to Huddersfield, and the wheels sort of fell off. So it was disappointing.
Jared Pesserman says, I hate to say it, this season I'd be thrilled with second place. I think if we get second place this season, Jared, Mourinho will probably still have the vast amount of Manchester United fans behind him. Even if we grind out the football for the rest of the season, and no manager's going to get sacked for finishing second place. I think people will be unhappy with the style of play if he continues, but if we finish second, I think he'll be alright. But I think long term, he's only ever going to... If we finish second and we continue playing the way we are, people will put up with it. But the problem with that is, any time he loses a couple of games, they'll turn very quickly. He's always going to be knife edge. Whereas you look at Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, now that's a club without any ambition. It's a bad example. But his record win ratio is no better than Brendan Rodgers, and they wanted Rodgers out. The reason Liverpool fans back Klopp is because they love the football when it works, and they ignore some of the defensive frailties. If things go wrong at United, it changes very quickly, doesn't it, Andy? It's like you know, people look at us and go, look at their fans moaning and they're second in the league. But it's not because of that. It's because the football we play does grind out good results. But then when it goes bad, people turn very quickly because they're fed up of the general picture. So it's going to be an interesting few months at United. And this game that's going to kick off in 15 minutes time it's not like it's a very important game. We lose this and our season is massively affected because we're out of the cup, so we've got to win it. I did want to bring in about Smalling. I just saw a bit of TV analysis about Smalling and I didn't see it about anybody else, and they were showing the penalty that should have been last week against Newcastle and some of his mistakes. He's been the fall guy this week, Chris Smalling, hasn't he? What's your thoughts on Chris Smalling? I'm quite glad that he's playing. I think that November always springs to mind.
I think it is quite unfair, the criticism he gets. He was bad against Newcastle, but I mean, again, it's one game. Phil Jones, I don't think he was great either. But going back to what you're saying, it was probably about 10 minutes ago, about Smalling, he's not. What was it you saying? He's not an intelligent defender. He runs through brick walls. He's like Jones. Yeah. They're exactly like each other. They run through brick walls, and that's what Jose loves. And Smalling's always been like that, to be fair. And like I say, when Bay's back fit, Smalling goes back to the bench. But I do think it's a little bit unfair that the criticism he gets, because again, he was immense in November for those sort of 3-4 games. He was absolutely brilliant. So, I mean, it goes back to the argument again, doesn't it? Do you base it off one game? I do agree with the criticism he got, but people telling him like, "Oh, go and get a knee injury," I think just grow up. It's not worth it, is it? That shouldn't be in football. Fans shouldn't be saying stuff like that.
The only thing I can say about that is, and that is totally unacceptable, and I've never said it about Fellaini, but some fans have issues with players that they will just be quiet about them when they do well, and then the minute they make a bad decision, they're all over them. And I think Smalling falls into that category. I know he does because I see it in the live comments, but Leela George, it's not a new kid, it's Andy. He's been on a few times, but his name's Andy. Yeah, I do get it about Smalling. A lot of people don't like him and haven't liked him for a long time, and I don't fall into that camp because when Bay's fit, Smalling's on the bench or not in the squad. But when Bay's not fit, Smalling's the best player in the air, and you've got to have somebody who's good in the air because Phil Jones isn't, and Smalling's the best player in the air, and that's why he plays. But he was very, very good in November. And that's one thing I was going to say as well before you go, Andy. Yeah. One thing I do find a bit weird about this season, you mentioned the start of the season when we were 4-0 FC and we played really well. In my mind, that was always a little bit about the opposition, because if you look at those teams we were beating, a lot of them have been down the bottom end of the table. But in November, it was very different. Watford were flying high. We basically punctured Watford and got Silva the sack. You know, they never recovered from that drumming we gave them at their place. Went to Arsenal, brilliant game of football, won that. Throughout November, we played that 3-5-2. It's the best we've played all season, the best results we've had all season, the most entertaining football we've played all season. And we've never really seen 3-5-2 again. And I think that really does surprise me. I don't. Yeah. Some of the things we've done this season have been very odd, and that certainly was odd. We got ourselves back into a title race and then dropped it.
That 3-5-2 was absolutely brilliant, and the game that sticks out in my mind, like you said, was the Arsenal game. We were fantastic. We were clinical in that game. We haven't been clinical a lot this season, have we?
No.
Well, we haven't created chances, have we, to be clinical? To be fair, but. Yeah, I've loved that 3-5-2. I can't remember a game where we've played really sort of poor with the 3-5-2. We will have done, but I can't remember off the top of my head. We were fantastic against Watford, the informed Watford at that time. We blew them away. We blew Arsenal away as well, and it was all set up for that City game, and we went back to a back four, and we sat back at home, which is unacceptable. But yeah, the 3-5-2, in terms of preferred formations for me, it goes number 1, 3-5-2. Then the 4-3-3, and then the 4-2-3. When I think we've played the 4-2-3-1 far too many times. It's rigid, boring, and fans don't want to see it. I can't understand. I'm glad he's gone a 4-3-3 today, to be fair, but I would definitely prefer to see the 3-5-2.
Great, Andy. Thanks for calling in, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers, Mark.
Cheers, pal. Thanks for calling. Just picking up on what Andy was saying there, Jonathan Gorbett says Mourinho doesn't have the right players for a 4-3-3 as well as fast-flowing football. We need another Pogba to play a real 4-3-3 again. Too bad he's ill on the one night where we're playing a 4-3-3-2. Thanks for the contribution, Jonathan Gorbett. You can make a contribution through the $ at the bottom of the live comments. Please do make sure you leave us a question though, and we'll read it out for you. Well, Mourinho said we played 4-3-3 last week because apparently it was Matic holding the midfield with Lingard to the right and Pogba to the left. If that was a 4-3-3, I'm amazed he wanted to admit it, because there's no way Lingard is a number 8 or played as a number 8 in that game. So maybe that was the plan, but it certainly didn't look like it, and that's why when Mourinho was criticising pundits saying they should know for all the money they're paid what formation we played. To be fair to those pundits, a lot of them are useless, and Jose's right, but it was very hard to tell from that formation against Newcastle that we were playing a 4-3-3, and why the hell Lingard would play in a 4-3-3, I don't know. Looks like we're playing a 4-3-3 tonight. The problem is, are Carrick and Matic the right sort of players to play in a 4-3-3 that we need to play? I think everybody agrees the three should be one sitting, so maybe Carrick or Matic, and then a left-sided player and a right-sided player. Well, Carrick and Matic are not able. We've got 3 midfielders today, and we already know 2 of them can't play that more expansive-sided one. So I think we're going to see 2 sitting with McTominay ahead of them. Now, McTominay tonight, I'm expecting big things from McTominay. I'm still not convinced what he is. So tonight, you're starting a game of football. Let's see what you're all about. I think some of his performance has been okay. He's had a few games now. We need to see better than okay. We need somebody to step up tonight. And if he's going to be good enough, I totally agree. He's a kid, so he must be given some leeway. But we've also got to see something. We've got to see something from him tonight, especially with slow players like Carrick and Matic. He's got to do a little bit better. Maniac7 says we need more fast attacking players. We do in the midfield. Matt, you are a legend though, dude, says Paul Robinson. Okay, my favourite part of the show, my nosy part of the show. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going for 193,000 subscribers tonight with 496 short. So if you've not subscribed to the United Stand, bottom right hand corner, click that United Stand hologram, subscribe, get your notifications on by clicking the bell, and then you're part of the United Stand community, and we're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got fan cams for you tonight, and remember, after this game we will be opening up Sky. Jamie Snow, you keep calling me, I can't answer, not until straight after the game, so if you call me then I'll take your call. It won't be 5 o'clock because it's 5:30, so about 7:30 we'll be opening up Skype, and you can call in and have your say on this game. You might have some things you want to talk about now, Pogba. But yeah, subscribe to the channel, join the community. It's a great one, and it's made by you. But let me know where you're watching from, and if you want to tell us the time, I can be nosy as well. George Kyle still locked in my cellar. He won't be coming out. Kukakus Darko. I don't know whether you're not understanding what I'm saying. I get a bit irritated by this. Give McTominay a chance. Is there anything in what I said 2 minutes ago that wasn't giving him a chance? I think I said I expect big things from him today. Mourinho has held him up as the one player he's going to promote as a youth player today. I've not seen a lot from him that makes me think he's a player for United. But clearly he is, because Mourinho's spoken positively, Carrick has, Sir Alex Ferguson has. There's something to his game. I just want to see it. And tonight he's starting. So I expect to see it, because he's played enough games now. He's got to start showing it. And I've said I expect a good performance from him tonight. How is that not giving him a chance? I expect him to play well tonight. If he puts in a big performance tonight, I expected it. So cop yourself on. Nick is in LA. Wakas is in the UK. Hamza wants Klopp at United. No, don't care how good he is, and I don't think he's that good. Peter is in Norway. Lionel Messi's in Sweden. Let me go back here. Marcus is in Sweden. We've got Mauritius. We've got India. We've got Canada, Atlanta, Germany. Jeff from South Africa. West of Ireland for Jason McDermott. Halifax, West Yorkshire for Sebastian United. Jayant is from India. Eno's from Ukraine. North Carolina for Xavier Daniels. Northern Ireland for Mr. Nathan 22. Germany for Ovarian Disbolment. And it's 6:22. It's 9:22 in Mauritius for Lovenish. And prediction, says Vayan. I'll come back to that. Jamaica, it's 12:22, and that's Gian Mackenzie. Minnesota is in the house, says Hamza. And South Africa for AJ Nell. Nottingham for AW415H. Republic of Ireland for Mark J. It's 11 o'clock at night for the Indian community, which is Kevin Stark. Which is interesting, isn't it? You know, what time of the day it is that you're watching this game. Australia, it's 4:30 AM. I was going to say, I was just about to say that. There'll be some people who are getting up in the early hours of the morning to watch this. Dundalk for Pikers TV, not far away from one of my friends, Drogheda. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, says Kong Sun Chan. Kimani's from Jamaica and Aminite's from Mexico. Egypt, Wicklow Island, Plymouth for Kyle Bennett. Comments are whizzing by. Thanks everybody who's let us know. I'm very nosy because we've got a fantastic United stand community that's very global, but obviously Manchester United's global support, and it's important that people realise that it doesn't matter where you sit. If you're a Manchester, it's what's in your heart that matters, and we're all Manchester United fans, so good. I know some people won't be Manchester United fans, by the way. And you're very welcome as well. So make sure you subscribe. Let's get pushing towards 193,000 subscribers. Please do share the video as well. Let's get 1,000 likes on the video. We've only got 5 minutes to do that now. So if you haven't liked the video yet, please do like it. It's a bit of a superstition we have to win, and I think today's going to be difficult. Going back to my score prediction, for those who've already heard it, apologies, but I'm going to go with my head says it will be a draw. But my heart says we might win this 3 or 4-0. I just think we're either going to batter them and it's going to be a really positive result, or it's going to be what a lot of people are predicting, very slow, very lethargic, and it's going to be a draw. I can't see us losing. I think that was just a one-off weird thing, losing to Huddersfield. You can't lose to Huddersfield twice in one season away from home. So I think a draw is the worst case scenario, but a funny thing, we're going to win. And the reason I think that is because I think Lindelof can pass the ball from the back to the midfield very quickly, and Carrick can pass the ball from the midfield to the front very quickly. So we've got two things that we didn't have last week, even though we had better players last week. We've got two players who can move the ball really quickly, and I think that is a positive. So I think we could win it. I think we could win it, and I think we could win it well. I hope so. I hope so. I really, really hope so. Anyway. I've got to get the old timer ready. I've also just missed something that I'm going to have to get back. Vincent Chan's made a contribution. He says, love the channel, Mark. Hope we can win today. Thanks for the contribution, Vincent. It's chucking it down rain in Huddersfield, for anybody who knows. We're very close to the 1,000 likes now, so thanks everybody who has done that. And my timer's nearly ready. Players are nearly ready to come out. So all's looking good. All is looking good. Good, good, good. Right. What do we got? I don't want to be there. I want to be up here. That's what I want. Right. So we're good to go with the timer. As you can see below the score to my left, you've got 0-0 and the timer's on 0. So that will kick in as soon as the game starts. Let's get that going there. We're going there. Going there. Michael Carrick's captain. Somebody was just asking. Oh, God. My stomach's hurting me. Let's hope it's not something that's going to get any worse with watching United, i.e. an ulcer. Anyway, the team is a 4-5-1, says Jamie White. Why does Romero always walk from the back? We need to score fast, says that Nintendo Gamer 7290. If Scott McTominay can play one decent pass forward, we're making progress, says Kieran Byrne. I'm really going to keep... Look, I haven't said this for a while because I know from your comments that you're all the vast majority are minded like this anyway, but I used to when we started doing watch-alongs. I'd say, keep an eye out for this and do make comments about it. If there's anything that's tactical that you are noticing about the game, please do put it in to the live comments once the game has started. Also, I must remind you, because I think we're getting a lot of new people watching, the reason we put the timer up is so that you can sync in your TV with our timer. Because we're streaming through YouTube, there will always be a delay. I'm watching it in real time, but by the time you watch it, you might be 10, 20, 30 seconds ahead of me. So we put the timer on there so you can see where we are in the game that I'm watching. But if you're watching it on your own and you don't mind being 10 seconds behind or whatever, and you want to sync in with the United Stand community, you can do that by pausing your TV and syncing your time with us. So that's why we do it. So, but what I'm really going to look at today is that McTominay. I'm going to be watching McTominay. Carrick is apparently going to hold the midfield with Matic to his left and McTominay to his right. So I'm going to watch McTominay like a hawk today, because there's got to be something to this kid. There has to be something to this kid in relation to why Mourinho really believes in him. And I'm expecting a big performance from him today. So I'm going to watch him like a hawk, because a lot of people say, oh, you're not very fair on McTominay. So today I will watch him like an absolute hawk, and I will give you my opinion on him in the match reaction and the call-in, because there's clearly a lot of people who think a lot of him, so we need to see that. Remember, we've got VAR as well. I've totally forgotten about that. VAR, Video Assistant Referee. How does VAR work? Let us know in the live comments. Do you get appeals? Decisions to be reviewed are goals, penalty decisions, red card incidents, and mistaken identity. Match referee has the final decision. So the managers can ask for it to be reviewed, I presume, or the captain. I don't know. It's not. Is it? Do you get so many appeals or what? I don't like VAR, by the way. So basically, if there's a penalty decision, United could ask for it to be reviewed if it was given. I think it slows the game down. I don't like it. Pogba is ill, as C. Gracie. AJ now says, "Oh yes, there is VAR." Sarcastic. Yeah, I agree. Lamia Sayed, I would agree that nobody has unlocked Mac T's true potential yet. But we're very close to kick-off. Kursk P says, why don't you show the game? Because it's illegal, mate. The reason BT and Sky and everybody else pay a lot of money for broadcast rights is because they get the right to show the TV. If we show that on this channel, or anybody shows it on YouTube, there's a very high likelihood that you will get shut down because it's copyright breach. So I'd love to have the budget for the United Stand to go and get you every Manchester United game, but it's a watch-along. We're off anyway, and it is, as we thought, a 4-3-3, and it looks straight away Michael Carrick playing a really long forward pass. Good tackle by McTominay straight away, and a foul on him. So good start for the kid. Nice in with the tackle, and a good early pass forward from Carrick as well, which is good to see. So we're 20 seconds into the game. If you are watching it on BT Sports, I would mute it and link in with the United Stand watch along, unless you fancy listening to Scouser McManaman, who hates United. Why do they put Scousers on a United game? I've never understood that. So McTominay is pressing higher up the pitch at the moment, and so is Matic. So it is that sort of 4-3-3, which is good to see. And we have seen United press high up the pitch in the past, even this season. So hopefully we will see a bit more of that. Oh, we're split down the right already. Down the left, sorry. Luke Shaw out of position. Smalling stands his man up. Cross comes in, and there's nobody on the end of that. So quite a frenetic, fast start, which is good. Replacement for Pogba is very, very important. Carrick, Matic and McTominay, says Omiyaki. McManaman is the worst, says JT Motley. David Webster, I can't be arsed listening to Mark gush over Carrick for 90 minutes. Oh, here we go, look. Carrick's hardly played for a year and I'm getting abused because I like Carrick. I mean, I did used to go on about Carrick a lot. I accept Michael Carrick is coming towards the end of his career now, and it's such a shame because he is a player who knows how to pass the ball quickly from the midfield to the attack. So I expect he will stand out today. But the trouble with Carrick is he's right at the end of the journey of his football career. And but what the 4-3-3 does do is it gives people like Sanchez license to get right up with Lukaku. But what it also does is Sanchez, Huddersfield are not a great team. Great balance to the team, to be fair. Always great to see Ashley Young at right back, says Kieran Byrne. Yeah, as Roy Keane said this week, you know, he's not a very good left back, is he? Here we go. Lukaku's in here. Nice little bit of play. 1-0. Lovely little bit of play. Mata gets him away. 1-0. That's what happens when you play fast football. Get the ball in. Get it passed through quickly by Mata. Lukaku runs through, holds it up, beats his man and tucks it in the bottom corner. Fast football scores goals. Lovely start from Manchester United. Lukaku, 1-0. I told you I had a feeling that we might just batter them. Very reminiscent. You know, how often do we stretch teams? And we stretch the team here. Get in. And again, it's Mata assisting Lukaku. That was Huddersfield last time. So, come on. Good start for Manchester United. And, you know, none of this, oh, let's lethargically get to the edge of the opposition's box. Very, very fast. Very quick. Stretching Huddersfield. Mata with the through ball. Lukaku doing what he used to do at Everton a lot. Lukaku wants to run at a team from the halfway line with space in front of him. And he gets to do it there. Well done. Good start, Manchester United. I need to update the score. But that's what we want. That's what we want to see. Great, great goal, says George Kyle. We will not be critical of Manchester United if we play fast football. And that was fast. Mata from a very central number 10 position with that goal as well. Note for later. Not on the right. He's in a central position and he splits the defence. And Lukaku doing what Lukaku's done for many years at Everton. That's the sort of ball that Lukaku wants to get on with. So this is a perfect start for United as well, because Huddersfield are going to have to do something about it, which should leave even more space for United. So really, really good start. Lukaku, Manchester United, 1-0 up. Let's park the bus. I'm only joking. Let's go and win 3 or 4-0. Bus time, says Chaz Sinclair. Well, the one thing United should be able to do is keep it tight for 10 minutes, because that's defensively Mourinho's game, isn't it? But good start, really good start. What I really loved about that goal was the fact that we moved the ball really quickly. I'm so fed up of watching United go side to side and allowing the opposition to get back into place. And you see the likes of Liverpool, how they stretch teams quickly on the break like they did against Southampton last week. That was reminiscent of that sort of football. Quick into space, lovely pass into Lukaku, no one's going to catch him up, turns the last man, 1-0. And a team that's playing fast, confident football, plays fast, confident football. We can take a lot of confidence from this. Massive week for Manchester United as well. Get a good result tonight, Sevilla on Wednesday, Chelsea at home. We can really get our season back on track. Bloody hell, they were on the side, Huddersfield there. I thought he would have been miles off. Flag stayed down. Quite rightly. Luke Shaw keeping him on. Usman's driving at the moment. Can you describe the goal? So basically, United moving the ball around okay. I think Mata's probably around the centre circle in the opposition's half. Forward pass to Lukaku, sort of down the left-hand side centrally. He's running onto it. His pace gets him away. There's only one defender running with him. Stands that defender over, cuts inside and bangs it in with his right foot into the bottom corner in the box. So it's just fast. It's just fast. We pick it up in a decent position, and instead of hitting a sideways pass, it's spot on. But Huddersfield are getting a lot of joy down the left-hand side at the moment, as Seb is obviously seeing because he's moaning in the kitchen. But they really are looking to exploit Luke Shaw at the moment. United just obviously trying to just keep things a little bit tight for a few minutes, expecting a Huddersfield backlash, and at the moment they are. There might be a corner ball here for Huddersfield. So we've got a goal. We've got a good start. We need to do this in the Premier League as well, says JK48. Well, we need to take steps forward, don't we? And that's the key thing. Got 3,675 people watching. So if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do click the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Get involved with the United Stand. Manchester United fan channel for the fans, by the fans. Live every night at 8 o'clock. Got a Skype call in after every game. We'll be taking your calls after this game. And if it continues like this, we might be celebrating a little bit of fast football for once. So yeah, get involved, subscribe. It's all about you, the community. So subscribe and get involved. Tell your friends, share the video, get involved. But this is well set up for United, and Carrick is dictating things, telling that midfield to push up a little bit. But Huddersfield on the attack again here. But it's well set up for United if we can do what we did with Mata and let Huddersfield come on to us a little bit and then hit them on the break. Cross comes in there, Smalling keeps it, heads it, flicks it away, but still Huddersfield on the attack. Another corner. It's only when we're chasing the game is when the problem starts, says Gibran Malik. And it was good to see Lukaku celebrate like that, says Cal Davies. Yep, sliding on the knees. That ball is not even in. This is an illegal goal if this goes in. What's the linesman even doing? He's not even on that side. McTominay's header there got us in all sorts of trouble. And then he cleared it well. Nazi says we'll get another on the counter-attack. It's set up like that. We are inviting them on a little bit at the moment. Bit of head tennis there, but McTominay got rid of it. And then it's gone for a throw-in. St. Columbo says we're losing the midfield already. I'm sorry. Huddersfield are going to throw it in long here. Smalling up well. Sanchez clears it well. Tomley giving the free kick away. He's got to get his head together, and you know, he's a big lad. I think part of my problem with McTominay that he's got to convince me with is I don't like midfielders that are that gangly and tall. It just makes me think they're not going to be good on the ball because they're so high. I mean, you name me a midfielder who's 6'4" and is a good midfielder on the ball. It's very difficult when you're that tall to do it, and I think that's my concern about him, and maybe I need to move past that because maybe he can be one of the first players to do it. Callum Overton has subscribed to the channel. Welcome to the channel, Callum. How's Lindelof playing, says Spalacus. It's very early to say. Bay is on the bench, Soph E, and I think it's early days to sort of have a say on Lindelof or anybody at the moment. It's very early days. We're only 10 minutes in, although they have flown by. All Huddersfield at the moment, but McTominay's done well there. Won it back. Simple pass to Carrick, and this is the thing I love about Carrick. It's always looking to play forward. Yes, good. Smalling's probably just given a handball away as well. Would have been a bit harsh. Even on VAR, I think that would have been a bit harsh. John Allen says that Manchester United have done nothing other than score. Yeah, if we hadn't scored that goal, you'd be saying it was a bit of a poor start. But the reality is we have scored that goal, and I don't think you can be that critical on United for just soaking up a little bit of pressure. There's always going to be a reaction from a home team when they go down within a couple of minutes, and at the moment we are seeing that reaction. I think United need to get into the game a little bit more. Luke Shaw is getting sort of 2v1'd a little bit out on that left hand side. Sanchez back helping him this time. See McTominay there, he's had it, and I think there's a forward pass on, and he goes sideways to Young, who then has to go back to the keeper, who then Luke Shaw doesn't, Chris Smalling doesn't, so Lindelof doesn't control it, and then Huddersfield have got an attack, and that all comes from McTominay playing a sideways pass when I think there was a forward pass to Mata. And this is the mindset of United. I'm not blaming McTominay there, it's a mindset of United. We've got to get out of it. 74% possession for Huddersfield so far. What's Alexi playing like? A bit like a left wing back at the moment. He's having to do a lot of defensive work because Huddersfield are definitely looking at our left hand side. Now here's McTominay. He's run out the back and he's been tackled. But it'd be interesting what he was going to do there because he had to go forward and he was trying to. Long shot by Huddersfield straight at Romero. You're not going to beat him for there. Losing the midfield battle, says Darth Vader. So the trouble is, we've not got many options on the bench, have we? There's not many options out there to change the midfield today. Need to push up, says Bagel TV. They are really going down us on that left-hand side a lot. Romero's just tipped it out for a corner. We're on the back foot at the moment, let's be honest. You know, very good goal to start off with, but let's not start having a party saying, yeah, this is the sort of football we want to see. The goal was good, but it was an isolated moment. We've been very much like we have been for a few weeks now. It's not good defensively. We're not in control defensively. It's sort of like Huddersfield's final ball's letting them down. Cross comes in, and here's Sanchez. We're trying to get on the break. Good play. Is that Matic? Yeah. Super chat from Shivan Tabani. He says, I was watching the game and the sergeant closes the welfare up, so now watching the game with yous. 1-3 full time. What do you think? I'd take 1-3. I'd be very happy with 1-3. Well, you can't blame sitting deep because we have slow Matic, old Carrick and young McTominay, says Marcus Kivy. Yeah, I'll give you the credit for that. I was actually thinking that. We're bedding in, Mark, says George Kyle. We are 1-0 up, and I think that, you know, we shouldn't be too critical because United have got a good early goal here and we're winning the game at the moment. So a little bit of bedding in, like George Kyle's, or trying to just get a little bit... I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to sucker them in, because if they're pressing high up the pitch, if we can get like another opportunity at their back four like we did with the first goal, then 2-0 probably, you know, I wouldn't say game over, but it massively helps. Everything. Oh, well done, Luke Shaw there. They're really trying to get at Luke Shaw, which surprises me because Ashley Young's the weakness in that back four. Well, I say weakness, that's a bit unfair, Ashley Young, but you know what I mean? He's not... Young would be the one I'd be looking to exploit, not Luke Shaw, but... Paul Pogba's sick. A few people are asking about that. Paul Pogba is sick at the moment. Little bit of a shaky start from Lindelof. Just going back to the question a few minutes ago, how's Lindelof started? He had that pass to him from Romero that he let go under his foot. It went out for a throw-in. So I'd say a little bit of a shaky start by Romero, by Lindelof. But He hasn't played for a while. This is why it's important. Now it's United. Oh, there was an early cross on there. He went for it. Well done, Ashley Young. There was an early cross on to Lukaku, and it was still on, and he went for it, and it's gone out for a corner. But United looking quick on the break, which is a mindset we need to get down. Nathan March says Matic needs to be rested. Still can't pass the ball out the back. Here we go. Oh no, was it Smalling there nearly getting on the end of a corner? Mata now. See, Smalling does cause problems in the air. Ashley Young. Oh, you see, that's a shame. Ashley Young's got the angle for the cross. Comes back from Mata. But he should have took it the first time. Because Mata's a left footer on the right. On in Lindelof, and that'll go out for a goal kick. So a little bit of a breather. AZ Junior says Huddersfield are going down the left because they still think Ashley Young's there. We want to play Liverpool and Chelsea like this, says Af. This team cannot cross, says Red Jedi. Well, that's a long ongoing problem for United, isn't it? The ability to put a decent cross in. Robert Fahy, Sanchez hasn't done a thing so far. I suppose we are 20 minutes in. It's flown by, hasn't it? Martial's not playing Prometheus 92. He's on the bench. Here we go. Little opportunity to run it there back four again. Sanchez is in. And a poor pass. But Lukaku. Strong. Huddersfield. And we are looking to be direct when we do get the ball in the final third, which is good to see. Right, I don't know what's going on here. Shaw is struggling, says A. Rahman. Long balls galore, says Ed Woodward. CJCTV says, apart from the goal, Lukaku's done nothing. Well, in the case of Lukaku, I ain't got a problem with his performance because the goal was very much a lot of work done by him and it was a good goal, and that's fine. Pogba is not sick, I told you, says Afaf. Well, what's going on with Pogba? Is there some breaking news with Pogba? McTominay's just giving a foul away there. Right. Well, it's gone quick, and that's always a positive with United because games sometimes don't go as quick as this. And we're already 20 minutes in, and it feels like we've only had 10 minutes. So it's an intriguing game in that sense. Good run here by Huddersfield. Cross comes in, and header. No, never going to have the power there, but they win the header and they skip through the box. I mean, that's not good, is it? Nick Kafakas says it was a great individual goal, but nothing team-wise. And Romero, I agree with you, Matthew. He just caught a cross. Come on, you don't often see that from Romero, catching a cross. So that's got to be worth man of the match so far. Rashid King says Carrick's been amazing. Yeah, I think what Carrick's done is he's trying to dictate that midfield, and but they're breaking on our back four too often. The ball in. Oh God, how's that not? Mummy. I tell you what I would say at the moment is we're only winning this game through luck, not through good defending. they've pretty much dominated us from that, what I would now call an early sucker punch, which is a shame because I wanted it to be a springboard, but they are creating chances, Huddersfield, and I think it's only their lack of ability that's failed to punish us so far. But they've had, I've just seen an infographic there about Huddersfield, where they're attacking. 55% down the right hand side, 21% centrally, and 24% to the left. But you know, we don't need those figures. It's very evident that they're going down that left hand side a lot. Sorry, our left hand side, their right hand side a lot. Why? I don't necessarily think it's because they see Luke Shaw as the weakness. I think they see Alexis Sanchez as the weakness defensively, which again is very hypocritical from Mourinho, because we think he drops Martial because of the defensive work he doesn't do. But I've seen Martial countless times in our penalty box this season making last-ditch tackles. Sanchez, I don't think, is a defensive-minded player. So it's funny how Mourinho's always been very critical of Martial for his defensive work, which he does. And now he's being dropped for a player who isn't at the moment doing a lot. And I think that's why they're going down the left-hand side, because Shaw is getting 2v1 quite a lot. Has to be the worst I've seen us play, says Verplurel. He says, am I the only one seeing this? Well, give us your thoughts in the live comments. What do you think? Is it a good performance from United, or do you think it's just a goal masking a bad performance? Somebody just said there, I missed the name. Sorry, but Smalling looks so indecisive. Look, Smalling plays because Bay's injured. That's as simple as that. Because Smalling's the best player in the air when Eric Bay's not fit. That's why Smalling plays. I'm not saying Smalling should play for, is a Premier League title-winning centre back. He plays because he's good in the air. That's why he plays. It's nothing to do with. I don't think Smalling should start for Manchester United when everybody's fit. It should be. If we're playing a back two, it should be Bay and Rojo. If we're playing a back three, I'd probably play Rojo, Bay and Lindelof. We need to learn how to press, says JWCP. Yeah, we're not good at that. But got a bit of the ball at the moment. So, look, if United can get a second goal, it probably kills the game off. And that's, you know, you can't criticise us for that. The reality is Huddersfield maybe will feel after 25 minutes that they've been on top and they should at least be level, but it's their quality of final ball that's letting them down. Like McTominay's there was dreadful. What the hell was that? Very dangerous. It was very lucky. Here's Luke Shaw, and we'll have a corner for that. Ernest says McTominay is a tall cleverly. Alexis Sanchez wasn't needed in January, says Thomas Wally. And when will Lindelof be a first choice? Sanchez does not fit in the squad, says CS22 plays. Ashley Young going backwards when there's one player behind him and 9 in front, and he plays a backwards pass. Madness. Absolute madness. Where are we? Sorry, I'm whizzing between screens here. Ricky Spanish says Pogba to Madrid, done deal. Yeah. Luke Shaw has never scored in 126 games. What a stat, says 222 Damien. Yeah, it's a surprising one because I've seen Luke Shaw go forward and hit a few shots for United in his time here, so it is surprising. The Haginator, I think this is a really good comment. He says, this is the type of game where we get another goal and then they capitulate. Yeah, Huddersfield, yeah. And I think it's the sort of game where you might not play particularly well. We're not playing well, but if we can be clinical with our chances, we could put this game to bed. And it might not be one of those sort of games where Lindelof's got to do well here. He's done okay. He's stood him up. That's okay. Long range effort at Romero. We'll take those all day. We are being a bit dominated though, aren't they? In relation to the movement to the ball. We're not doing a lot. I mean, that's poor from McTominay, that shot there. I mean, he just skips past him and lets him get a shot away. Where's the determination? Where's the drive? I mean, I think one thing United don't do as well is win enough second balls or first balls. Romero caught another ball. Jay Legends, you've just made me laugh. He says Pogba's sick of Mourinho. Bants. Away fans are fantastic. They're not stopped singing, says South African Red. They didn't stop singing throughout Van Hal and Moyes, so yeah, well, you know, maybe tonight's not going to be a good football match, but I will be watching Chelsea-Barcelona on That's Football, doing a watch-along for that on Tuesday night if people want to join me. I mean, that's one of the things that annoys me about United at the moment is that the two Champions League games I watched in midweek, Real Madrid PSG and Spurs Juventus, I think I've never watched football so much and enjoyed it for a long time because my team that I watch week in, week out are not entertaining. So watching a game of football that was entertaining was absolutely fantastic. I thought, why did I enjoy this so much? I'm not a Spurs fan. I'm not a PSG fan. If anything, I've got, you know, I quite like Juventus, but it was Spurs who played well in that game. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought, you know, this is because my team is not entertaining me. So that when I do watch a game of football that's actually entertaining, it really entertains you. Jonathan Bull there is picking up a comment from Alex where he says, Alex is right, one player presses the others back off. Mourinho seems incapable of getting us to play as a team. Yeah, I remember this. I don't know whether it was a coaching thing I did or maybe it was a program I watched, that the press only works if you press as a team, because if one goes forward and everyone else doesn't press, you can always find a pass. You've got to press as a team or it doesn't work. Watch people like Man City, watch teams like Liverpool do it more now as well. You press as a team and it causes the opposition a lot of problems because they are another corner here. They run out of options. But if you're just going to press one player, and you see it a lot with Lukaku, he'll press and he'll be turning around going, come on, forward, forward. But if they don't do it, it's too easy for the opposition. Centre midfield is transparent, says 222 Damien. We're getting pressed to death, literally, says Gamer Blamer. Well, as long as we can keep ahead. Bloody hell. Smalling and Lindelof going for the same bloody ball there. My God. Lacking confidence defensively. Nappy Nikal, I've just said your name. Finlay Mottershaw says you're a United fan, but you... Oh, look, I've got to bring this up. He says you're a United fan, but you spend the entire time being negative. Well, is that... Thank you. I think you've just stated the bloody obvious there. Of course. I don't think any real Manchester United fan is going to be that positive about this performance so far, barring the goal. Weird. Weird comment, that is. Well in by, I think it was Carrick. Now Sanchez on the break. Oh, there's an overlap if he gets it right. Oh, Lukaku, all you needed to do was get it wide and we were in. We had two on the overlap down the right hand side and he didn't put it right. The game is set for us to hit them on the break, and whilst it's 1-0 to us, the next goal would really kill it off. No foul, no foul. Jose out at half time, says Devil's Ace. Gomez has got potential. Oh, it's all Huddersfield at the moment. Come on. Cross coming in. Well out by, I think it was Smalling that time. Asking a lot of questions, Huddersfield, but let's be honest, they don't really seem to have the quality. I might have to agree on Mourinho out, says Scott Roberts. No! No! Don't! Karen Surrey says, have you seen any change or are we still boring? That's a bloody good shot there. Whoa! Romero's just caught it from about a 30 shot, a fast 30-yard shot straight at him. Caught it like a balloon. Mark, Alex needs to give Jose the hairdryer, says Mr. Exclusive. I presume you mean Sir Alex. Yeah, what was I going to say about Huddersfield? They've done well. They've actually had 8 attempts to our 2, but a lot of them in long range. I think if this was City or Liverpool, we'd be about 3-0 down. I mean, maybe I'm blind to something here, but I think if Huddersfield actually had decent players in the attacking positions, they would. I think if this is City or Liverpool, this is like, oh god. If this is City or Liverpool, I think we're 3 or 4-0 down. It's only their final ball that's stopping Huddersfield from winning it, and I think McTominay gets a little bit lucky here. Let's have a look. No, I don't think that's a foul on United. I think that's a foul on. I think you just play it on. It looks very, very equal. Yeah, I'm with you, JT Motley. He thought it was a foul by McTominay. I'm feeling Jose's going to sell Shaw after this game, says John Sherrell. Luke Shaw's not been good tonight. You know, I do like Luke Shaw, and I know Andy was on before, and I know a lot of you do as well. But you know, you've got to take your opportunity, and I don't think Luke Shaw's been great, but I think Luke Shaw's sort of defying the odds anyway, isn't he? Let's be honest, he's defying the odds because he's been treated so. I don't like saying the word badly, but he's not necessarily had a massive confidence boost from Mourinho, and. If any team had decent attacking players, we'd get something out of United at the moment, just lacking that confidence, it seems. James Stewart, stop being so optimistic. We are shocking, and it begins and ends with the manager. I don't know why the typical sensationalist TV cameras looking at Ethan Hamilton. Do you really think Mourinho is going to chuck him on in a game like this? Never in a million years. We won't see Angel Gomez either. You'd be wrong to chuck a young kid on into this sort of situation. I think it's wrong that McTominay's in this sort of situation as well. He's only a kid, but I just feel, I look at Alexis Sanchez in this game and I think, oh yeah, you are one of the best players in the world, right? Fair enough, but we already had a left winger who was probably our best player of the season. What have you brought to our team in relation to the balance? Why didn't we go and get a midfielder? We're crying out for a midfielder, and we go and spend hundreds of thousands of pounds a week on a left winger when we've already got a really good one. It defies belief for Mourinho, really. But the only thing I'm sort of hoping with 8 minutes to half time is that maybe Huddersfield have shot their load a little bit and they are they're going to tire, because they've not really created any great chances despite having all of the ball. Matty McFadden's just about to tuck into a big boy steak pie. Oh, I'd love some of that. Tell you what I feel like now. Beef and onion pie from the chipper with chips, gravy and mushy peas. Ooh, have some of that. I could tuck into some of that, I tell you. Won't be doing it for a couple of hours yet. We will be taking your calls straight after the game. So if you've got things you're not happy about, get involved. I think we should have bought a midfielder in January. I think we're so short there, and I don't even want to be critical of Scott McTominay. I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair that he's been thrown into these sort of situations. You know, young players should come into teams that are doing well and, you know, build with confidence. And we're having to use him in a game that's not, in a team that's not very confident. But I think, fortunately, Huddersfield just don't seem to have the quality. I said this at the start of the game, didn't I? I don't think Huddersfield have got the quality to beat us. I think they've got the they've got enough of the ball, and they've got a lot of what's the word, drive and conviction. But I don't think they've got the quality to score goals past us, and I think that's why we're still winning this game. Cleared by Lindelof. I can't read that comment, Anna Tayal, about McTominay. Suffice to say, it was quite harsh. Midfield 2, older, slower players and a rookie is not a good combination, says Sally Devil Red 7. Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Although Matic shouldn't be considered as, you know, Carrick's 36. Matic is 29 and we spent 40 million on him 7 months ago. Red Jedi not happy, parking the bus against freaking Huddersfield. I don't think we'll change in this. I don't think anything's going to change in the summer, says the GOAT. Look, I back Mourinho, and I know that annoys people, but I do back Mourinho because I think he can turn things around. That he's just got to be a little bit more adventurous. And this midfield 3, I think only a clown would think it's anywhere near good enough. But we just haven't got the quality of player at the moment to play in a midfield. He hasn't got any other midfielders, let's be honest. Herrera's not fit. Pogba's sick. I'm not using Fellaini as an option because he wouldn't make any difference. But at least Fellaini is experienced. So his midfield options are quite... I thought United were going to get a goal there. We're actually having a bit of play in their half. There's Luke Shaw. Bit of drive. Good running by Luke Shaw. He's going to have to go... He doesn't want to go backwards, but he's had to go to Sanchez. And then McTominay loses it. And they're on the attack. He's going in. You see, this is Huddersfield, though. He's gone down a blind alley there. He needed to go direct towards goal, and he hasn't. So we should be alright. We've got a lot of numbers back now. Corner. Priest Puncher says we're 1 goal up and we're sitting back. We all know how that goes. I don't think we're sitting back. I just think we're being dominated. Matic has looked poor as well. Let's not, you know, I've seen a lot of comments about McTominay, but he's a kid. What's Matic? So it's not a very strong bench at all, RG Freestyler. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. If you like the United Standing, you're enjoying the show. We are live every night at 8 o'clock and daily content on here, so do get involved, and it's always about your comments as well. And remember, straight after the show we'll be doing the call-in, so really interested to see what you lot have got to say. It's your opinions that count. David Tapgun has made a contribution. Jose is urging the players forward. The players are just defensive minded. Why are they defensive minded though, David? I don't really understand it. We're approaching half time anyway. You know what? The way this is going, I don't think Huddersfield have got that quality to score a goal, and I can see us getting the second goal, and I can see it being a game where we go absolutely shocking, but we've won the game. But sometimes these sort of results can turn it. You know, it doesn't mean we're necessarily going to play this way against Sevilla. Well, we wouldn't, would we? Because you wouldn't want most of these players to be playing against Sevilla, but. Michael Van Gerwen says we've become so boring. Ezzy Jr. says 1 shot, 1 goal. You can't fault that. Why are we so lacking in energy and passion, says RG Bizzle. Someone needs to check Matic's birth certificate. He's 40, says Gary Howe. Be patient with Mourinho, says Josh Muller, who's got a Chelsea emblem. Don't know whether that's a good or bad thing. And another dull United game, says John Allen. We just want to be entertained, don't we? We want to be entertained. Darian Jones said Fergie would have changed something by now. Thanks for the contribution, Darian. You can do that through the super dollar, the dollar icon at the bottom of the live comments. Right, if Ashley Young gets his head up here, it's 2-0, and it's not offside. Sucker punch! How the hell have we done that? Ashley Young into Mata, 2-0. I don't think it's offside either. I thought it was going to be called offside. He's not offside. He's 2-0. Sucker punch goal. Two-0. He's not offside. I hope we're not. I don't think you can. Can you VAR for offside? He's onside anyway, 100%. I hate VAR. I absolutely hate VAR. That is absolutely shocking. 2 minutes. 2 minutes you wait for an onside decision that we knew was onside instantly from the camera reaction. Why are we waiting 2 minutes to have something confirmed? F off VAR. Get out of football. I hate VAR. Whether it's pro United or not, it is too bloody slow. We saw that replay straight away and it was onside. Yet they've got to make sure. They've probably got to watch 3 or 4 angles. It's a bloody joke. Get rid of VAR. Minimorna says, said from the start Alexi would upset the team's balance and we needed a midfield player. Once again, Martial is simply being pushed to one side for a new signing. I worry for his future with us. Thanks for contribution, pal. That natural cross from the right is deadly, says Joshua Chang. Yes, it is. So we're going to be going in 2-0 up. I'm going to need to change the score as well. Which, if you've watched that game, because there will be people on a Saturday night. He's onside. He's so onside. I don't know what that blue line's for. VAR can piss off. Oh, shouldn't swear. Should not swear. It irritates me. I hate it. I don't want it in football. It ruins the flow. Disgrace. Get rid of it. Kill it with fire. Kill it with fire. Kill it with fire. It's a weird one. I'm reading a lot of your comments, and I don't think it was offside. He was onside. He's very level. What? I'm in a parallel universe. How did that happen? But I didn't even notice. I thought I'm in a weird place. I thought I saw a kickoff at 2-0. Well, what happened? It's offside. Matic is just putting the ball in the back of the net. Well, what's going on? What went on? Oh my goodness me. Mark, the system may work in ice hockey, but it completely takes passion out of football. If that's technically offside, what a frigging joke. What a joke. I apologise, everybody. I thought I was so angry with VAR writing a tweet out that I'd actually said, what a waste of time. Why do we have to go back and address something that was clearly onside? And they've chalked the goal off in the interim, and I apologise, I've missed it. But that VAR has got to go, because that is not the sort of goal that you want chalking off. It was ridiculously... If that's offside, then it's millimetres. It's just silly. Absolutely silly. I'm looking at it now. No. If you're technically going to call that offside, there's something very, very, very wrong in football. That's not... Yeah. There's something just wrong about that. It's ridiculous. You don't want VAR in football for that. And I don't care whether you're Liverpool, United, and of course it's very funny from a United point of view that we've had a goal chalked off, but that is not the sort of decision to call somebody offside. He's not even offside. He's giving it off because his hand's off. Benefit to the attackers. It's very subjective, says Najim Khan. That's not the sort of decision that VAR should be doing. What a joke. It's rubbish. I don't like VAR anyway. I've been saying it for weeks. I hate it. It's ridiculous. It's a terrible, terrible system. It wasn't offside. And how are we playing? But let's come back to the game. Let's come back to the game, because what I will say is that if Manchester United had been 2-0 up at half time, look, VAR's rubbish. I think VAR is rubbish, regardless of that decision. But I'm going to be totally honest and say 2-0 would have been very harsh on Huddersfield. Controversial or not, 2-0 to United, not deserved. A really poor half. Good goal, Mata setting Lukaku. Lukaku, very much an individual goal when he's set away, turns his man, puts it in the bottom corner. Really quick, really good start from United. The following 40 minutes, rubbish. Midfield dominated. Huddersfield are not winning that game 3 or 4-1 because they're poor in the attack. If that's Man City or that's Liverpool or that's Spurs, we're getting absolutely tonked in that game. Poor from United, really poor, and 2-0 would have flattered us. Sebastian United's made a contribution discussing VAR ruins the game and talking points. Yeah, well, I don't want to dwell on the VAR thing for too much. It was a goal. I hate VAR. I've seen it in rugby. It doesn't suit football. It takes away creativity and makes it very clinical. And I hate that. That's not what football is. Monday morning at work, you want to be talking about decisions like that. You don't want the accurate answer or the technical, clinical answer. You want to have that sort of freedom for discussing points, and they're trying to take that away from football. It is wrong. But in the context of this game, do United deserve to be 2-0 up? Technically, we do, because Mata's goal should have been given, but fairly, we don't. I think Huddersfield will feel very, well, they shouldn't feel hard done by. It's their creativity in the final third that's not created the chance for them to score. But possession-wise, ability, they've been far better than us. The midfield is so slow, it's going backwards. I think a really big talking point has to be Alexis Sanchez. No matter how good you think Alexis Sanchez is, and he's a very good player, what does Alexis Sanchez bring to that team that Anthony Martial didn't? I don't see the big difference. I don't understand why we've spent so much money replacing our best player for another player. That left wing position, to put Sanchez in there, is bordering on insanity. It's stupid. Why have we brought a player in to replace a player that we already had that was very good when we've got massive issues elsewhere? Like the fact we're having to play a kid in the midfield who's not ready. Like the fact that we've got no one who can play on the right-hand side. I mean, Mata's decent, but he's not really a right winger. He never has been. But the midfield's the problem. That Sanchez signing is really weird. I never thought we were signing him to be a left winger, and it's really, really, really odd. But terrible midfield, says Jehan Samuel. Be patient with Mourinho. I've read that before from Josh. I think he's winding us up. Can't blame Pogba now, can we? Says SB. We can't break their press at all, says LW10. Sanchez should play on the right wing, says Pablo. And we need to get some midfielders. Any ideas who, Mark, says Rory Bacon. I think we should have got a midfielder in January. You know, in all fairness to Alexis Sanchez, did we need him? Very, very good player, but we already had a left winger, so we could have spent that money on a midfielder, which we are crying out for. I mean, Matic. I've seen a lot of people having a pop at McTominay, and you know, he hasn't been great. But why is Matic not getting any bad press? I thought Matic was, well, he is bad press. He's pressing badly, but Matic deserves far more than McTominay does, who is a kid. Matic was spent £40 million on him. He's 29. He's not 49. Poor half from him as well. Midfield's really bad. You know, it's not good enough. The lining around the cloud, that is the VAR decision, is that my steak pie is here, and boy does it look tasty. Oh, I'd love a bite of that, Matthew. Pogba is really ill. Will he play on Wednesday, says Reese Hunter. I don't know. We're going to get spanked in the Champions League, says Samuel R. VAR is a bigger joke than Mourinho, says Cockney Red. We need Pjanic, says Andrew Gutierrez. And Lingard and Gomez need to come on, says Fahima Yasmin. I would worry about Angel Gomez coming on into a game like this. You shouldn't chuck kids into disasters, and it's a disaster zone at the moment. It's unfortunate that second goal wasn't given. I think, though, that is not something you want to be VAR'd, that sort of decision. That, you know, you're talking millimetres. Technically, it's millimetres offside. That's ridiculous, but that's not what that's for. I would rather remove VAR from existence than Man City, says Man United Forever. Defenders are the reason we can't play expansive football, says Sidanth. Soon, clubs will be signing robotic players with all this technology in the game, says Friend 2018. Kevin O'Callaghan, Smalling and Shaw playing fairly well. It's interesting how people think Alexis Sanchez has played well, but they are getting down our left-hand side all the time, and the reason they're doing that is because they're getting 2v1 with Luke Shaw a lot, because Sanchez isn't tracking back, and we know how Mourinho goes on about Martial tracking back, which he actually did do quite well. Andy Matuma says, better start fresh than a coach who holds grudges. So thanks for that contribution. United need to work on their first touch, says Alexander. And offside is offside, says Naran6 Music. Nah, yeah, you might be right, mate, but that's not what I want in football. Whether it's United conceding it or not, if we'd conceded that goal to Huddersfield, I'd be saying I don't want VAR in football. Although we would have conceded a goal, I don't want VAR in football for that. I don't want that sort of decision technically offside because he's what, a few millimetres offside. It's, you know, that's not what football is. Football's never been everything's got to be spot on, technically right. It's got to be like a part of his knee is offside. Jesus Christ, come on, ridiculous. Darian Jones, can't believe I'm saying this, but Wenger utilised Sanchez better than Mourinho can. We aren't blocking the channels. Basics. I am at a loss. They'll love that. The FA will. This will be a reason for VAR to be used more often. They will love it that they've got something right technically, and it was against United. But I choose not to get too annoyed about that because I hate VAR in the general sense. It could be Juventus versus Spurs the other night. I'd still hate it. In relation of this game, United don't deserve to be 2-0 up, so I can't moan about that. I think Angel Joe Gomez, and he can make a bigger impact than McTominay, guaranteed, says Nutlicker. What a name. Yeah, it's never going to happen though, is it? He's never going to bring on a small lad like that for somebody who's tall. It's Mourinho. David Tapgun says Matic suffering from exhaustion, maybe. Thanks for the contribution. Red Devil says Mourinho out now. That's the first one I've seen tonight, even though we're winning 1-0. The FA is winding up United in general for their hateful grudge against Fergie, says a name I can't pronounce because it's in Chinese. And stop bloody moaning. Would you rather Sanchez go to City? Now we have more squad depth. What happens if Martial gets injured? Bang for buck, PC Gamer's got a point. Doesn't matter if Martial gets injured at the moment. He's on the bloody bench, mate. Mourinho needs to learn to rotate the right players, says Deadpool Universe. Why is Sanchez playing in Martial's position? This is absolutely absurd, says Ayon Sedejal. And VAR sounds like a deadly disease, says Joe 1. To be honest with you, I don't like VAR. I've said it so many times now. But I think it's the wrong thing to be spending half time talking about because it actually, although we didn't get the goal, it's masking the poor performance from United in the first half. Moaning about a goal that I don't think we deserved. So, Smalling playing well, says Danush. I think Smalling played well, yeah. Martial's our best player, says Fenton Williamson. Martial can play right wing. He nearly scored against Newcastle. And do you think Sevilla will be more entertaining, says Gill's performance? I think what you'll see with Sevilla is that if we play like this, they will score goals because they've got quality. Huddersfield lack quality in the final third, which is why we've got a clean sheet. Max Johnson has made a contribution. He says it's meant to be clear and obvious, which it wasn't. I told you to blow the bloody doors off, says Gungshi. Why did Mourinho insist on playing on the left? Axel Twansibi was superb against Fulham, says Alexander. Okay, I'm going to get Jared on the show now. Jared, can you hear me?
What's up, Mark? How you doing?
I'm good, you?
Good. Good.
Give us your thoughts on that half then.
Fine. I don't like VAR at all. I think it's going to be a big issue. Because we have it in American football, and they had these issues in the beginning, but it's a much slower game than real football. So it's not going to work. You can see it really slowing down things when they have an agenda, if that makes sense. But still, we should be up anyway. It's Huddersfield.
The funny thing is about that VAR thing is that I hadn't realised I even changed the score to 2-0. And even if it had been given onside, I was moaning about the fact that how long it was taking for them to do it. And like, you know, we're waiting a minute, 2 minutes for a goal that's not clearly onside. Now, technically, it was offside, so they'll go, well, we were right to wait 2 minutes. But I don't, whether we conceded that goal or whether we scored it, I don't want to wait for decisions like that. I don't want to wait. It's like the guy just said there. It's got to be clear and obvious. That was not clear and obvious.
Irrefutable. And I think that's the difference. Is I didn't think either way. I thought however it was called should have been how it stood.
Yeah.
You're going to start to have 15 minutes. They're going to be nitpicking decisions. And that's when you start to have this sport be slowed to a standstill, which you don't want to see.
I don't understand with the offside ones anyway, because they appealed it and it was given offside. But if it had been given offside for United, United wouldn't appeal it, would they? We just played on. Mata wouldn't have carried on and scored, so we wouldn't have. We get no advantage from that. You know, like if the linesman put his flag up, the ref would have blown his whistle. Mata would not have carried on and scored, so we wouldn't appeal for it. So it's a one-sided thing anyway. It's for the defence to appeal the offside, but we wouldn't have appealed it if it had blown up because we wouldn't have scored a goal anyway. So it's a bit weird for me. I didn't think offside was something that you could appeal on, but there you go.
No. But they're testing it. So this is the problem when you test this technology, is that you're figuring. I don't see how you stop a game for onside, but you can't stop it if you want to see if the goal, if they're, again, to your point, there's too much fluctuating now with this whole system. I think it's going to take time for them to figure it out, and I don't think many of the fans are going to want to put up with it. I also think that a lot of teams are going to laugh at other teams when this happens, and then the next week it'll happen to them, and you'll start to see over a year most people, I think, will be against it.
I certainly think it's something they should put to the fans, being as it's the fans who pay for the subscription fees and the tickets, and I think it should be something decided by the fans. We're closing in, by talking about the fans, we're closing in on 193,000 subscribers, so please do click the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. You'll see the three spears in the bottom right hand corner. Click subscribe and get involved with the United Stand. Jared, I'm just going to leave you for 1 minute while I quickly pop to a refreshment break before the second half.
All good. So that VR thing, interesting, because I was saying, American football, this was a huge issue for years. And as they had this start up the system, for the first 5 years, the games were running so slow. It took them 5 years to figure it out. But football's such a slow sport, it was able to be done. I think you wait to see how annoying this system gets once they start to adopt it, which is really unfortunate because it should be implemented in certain small ways, but I don't know what you guys think. You can't think. I would try to comment. Louis van Gaal plays more attractive football than Mourinho. I think they both play unattractive football, if I have to be honest. But again, we knew that he was going to play like this when he came here. So the problem is Mourinho going to adjust Mourinho ball to play like the fans want to see, or is he going to say, I'm second at the end of the year, I hopefully won an FA Cup, I got us to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, I did my job. Yeah, I know. But it's interesting because, again, I think Mourinho's the right guy to lead the team if he gets everything he wants. And I think this year you're going to see a whole new defense and a whole new midfield. And I wonder if, like last year, when he shut up shop before Europa League, if he's going to do the same exact thing this year and just go for top four and play Mourinho ball until he gets the team that he wants. Should be unfortunate. I don't understand how Martial's benched at all. I think it's a horrible mistake. He should be playing every minute that we play. Tactically, he's our best player with Pogba. The thing is, he's only player on our team besides Pogba who could be a Ballon d'Or winner. So I think decisions like that will turn our fan base against Mourinho. So we hope they don't happen. Because if he gets what he wants, he's going to lead us to championships and titles. Get Conte fired, which will be nice to see.
I'm back now. I'm just going to get the timer up and set. But what was your thoughts on that first half, Jared? I missed all you were on about that.
I enjoyed it. Like I was saying, I don't think this style of play, I think it's starting to become more of a problem than in the past. I don't think he's going to make it a whole season playing like this. Not that he'll get fired. I just think the fans will turn against him. So I'm hoping that he is playing like this because he's just not comfortable with his defense and his midfield, and he's just pretending that he is. Because he did it last year too. So, maybe the 2-year plan's a 3-year plan. Because we don't have the money.
Well, the timer's up and running. The second half has kicked off, and it's 1-0. Even though for a long while I thought it was 2-0. I do think the decision was shocking, and I don't want to see VAR in football at all. In a general sense, whether I'm watching United or not watching United, I don't want to see that. It slows it down and it takes away talking points and it makes it too clinical. But I must admit 2-0 did flatter United as well, so the truth is somewhere in there.
Well, it's interesting. It's like, do you? I guess the real question is, do you think Mourinho plays like this because this is how he plays, or do you think he plays like this because he's uncomfortable with who he has? I think that's the big Mourinho debate.
I think what fans would say, and I guarantee I'll see it in the live comments very, very quickly, is that Mourinho, if he's doing it because these are the players that he's got, he's been here 18 months. He shouldn't. He can't use that excuse about the players that he's got anymore, because basically his midfield is just not good enough. I mean, Herrera has been disappointing. You wouldn't have expected him to his form to drop off a cliff. But basically, when Pogba's not fit or not playing well, United are in trouble. I mean, who are we really missing? Fellaini. Does Fellaini come into this midfield and make it quicker and more dynamic? No, he doesn't. So I just think we need better options in the midfield, and I think Mourinho should have been aware about that. And whatever he thinks about McTominay, it's quite clear that he's just not ready yet. And
no, I mean, I appreciate him playing youth, honestly, but I would wish he played other youth instead of this guy.
Yeah, and he nearly had, to be fair to him there, he went on a good run and he nearly had the opportunity to put Sanchez in one-on-one. And it would have been brilliant, because there would have been the following sentence of me, McTominay's not ready, oh, he's just set us up for 2-0, which would have liked to have seen, but it didn't happen.
Look, I'll take it. I don't care how they get there. If McTominay ends up being world-class, that is excellent. I'd love to be wrong, But he's not going to be. He needs Fellaini's hair, and then he's Fellaini. But, again, I think it's exciting. I mean, Gomez being on the bench, as a stubborn person that Mourinho is, I feel like these are bigger deals than we're giving him credit for. And by the end of this season, hopefully Chong and Gomez are playing regularly. I mean, if not, again, I think that's a big problem. Like, our youth, we need to see what they can do. But he kept him here, so we'll be okay.
I think the modern football is just a weird thing, and it's like, the Arsenal fan TV community, and this you see this ranting after every result that's just not what they want, and we don't do that on the United stand. And the reality is, look, if we lost this game, I think there'd be a lot of fans feeling vindicated. Oh, Mourinho's not the right man, the football's rubbish, but you can't be like that. I've not enjoyed that first half. I've not enjoyed watching United play for a long time in relation to entertaining football. But I want that goal to be given to us, even though we don't deserve it for Mata. I want us to get ahead in this game and get into the next round, because you don't get a second chance in the FA Cup. We either win tonight. If we lose, we're out. We're out for another year, and that's another chance of a trophy gone. And that's another big chance for Man City to go and get the treble. And, these should be motivators for United. They've already won the league.
Right.
If we go out the FA Cup, they're probably going to win the FA Cup as well. So, you can't blame others. We've got to stop them.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that we can stop them, but we need to.
No, you know what? You're spot on, Jared. It's a futile comment, because this United team cannot stop Man City. I hoped we could for a long time, and I even gave it the big one, say, Fraudiola and all that. But they will wipe the floor with us at the moment, and even I would accept that.
Yeah. They planned for this. So, I hate the club, but I give them credit in the way that they built the team. They bought world-class players, one a year, 3 years before Pep came. They knew he was coming. So, whatever. We got a free kick.
Yeah, they did. They actually brought a recruit in from Barcelona before, didn't they, as well? David Logan says it's funny looking at people trying to be fair and impartial and showing their bias by the end of the sentence. Comical. Really appreciate the football during the week after a half. Oh no, sorry, that whizzed by. Stuart Garrett says, if you say you support Jose one more time, I'm going to kick the dog. I'm against animal cruelty, so I'm not going to say it. But I do.
Don't kick the dog.
There is a massive difference between us and City. Look, if you watch the United stand regularly, you will know that over the last week I've started being quite complimentary about Liverpool's style, about Man City, and that hurts. But I'm not also blind, and I have seen them a bit lately, more than I had done. And they are very, very good teams, and we're not. We're not a very good footballing side at the moment, and it's hard to accept that.
Easier to get over City. Oh, nice stop. Got very lucky there. That could have ended up in the back of the net.
Oh
Still
my
got the
God,
ball.
Huddersfield are cutting us open like bloody Barcelona here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
I tell you what, if Huddersfield actually had any quality in the final third, they would have had 2 or 3 goals. They are cutting us apart.
I mean, what's worse than anything, forget the goal being ruled offside, forget the way we're playing, to come out of the locker room and play like this for the first 6 minutes of this game shows the problems with this squad. That is embarrassing. Like, they don't care. I really think half of them don't care. The other half, I think they do care, and I think if there's any rumors of squad problems, that's where it comes from. But those people they can't be here next year. Because we'll have this problem for a very long time. Unless we get rid of this deadwood.
Yeah, but I mean, as I've said before, I just think that he's had 18 months.
Yeah, but he hasn't had the budget that other people have had. And I'm not saying it's only money, but I know that he asked for more people than he got. So you know what? Until he gets everything he needed, like Pep, in some ways Klopp has kind of dealt with what Jose dealt with, but built it better, I think. And now, you know, we hope that Jose, after one more season, builds defense, builds midfield, keeps De Gea, and then we have a title run. I hope. Gives up on Fellaini. That'd be nice.
Well, it's all Huddersfield camped in our half at the moment, and I don't like the statement part of the bus, but we sort of are at the moment. And I think that might be enough. I think we might just do what we did, and another free kick here. We might just do what we did and catch them. You know, a team of Manchester United's quality, we are going to get chances. So we could end up winning this game 2 or 3-0 just because we're clinical on the break. But ultimately, the honest answer is, and I don't know what everybody else thinks, ultimately, if Huddersfield had real quality in their final third, we would be in a lot of trouble in this game. It's only because they've been very, wasteful with their possession.
I mean, if this team was any more clinical, they would be beating us. Which, again, you look at, like, if we play like this against Sevilla, it was a fun Champions League run while we had it. Why? All right, so I read a comment. Stop the Pep, Jose, and money comparison. It's embarrassing. Pep has spent, in 18 months, more money. I believe he's than Alex Ferguson spent in 26 years, I think is the stat now.
Yeah.
Or it's a joke. So there is a money issue. Plus the players he came into were worth millions. Millions. Jose came into Fellaini. Mop with a wig on it.
Free kick to Huddersfield here. It's very central. It's just about 5 yards away from the D. And it's straight at the wall. Again, they just haven't got the quality.
Nope. Good for us, at least.
Yeah. Very good.
Do you think we see Gomez?
I can't see how you'd chuck a kid into this. I'd love to see Gomez, but I also agree it's very unfair to throw kids into this shower of a mess.
Yeah, but I remember, you remember Rashford's first game? He was thrown into that Van Gaal mess, and he scored, 2 goals against Arsenal? So it's never know. You never know how talent could spin the other way.
Here we go. We might have 2 here on the break.
There we go.
It is 2. That's a really good goal on the break by Lukaku. It's just such a weird performance because it's such a good break by United. And it's really good play. But we just don't deserve it.
No, but I'll take it. And you know what? I'm harsh on Lukaku, but he has been clinical today. So, awesome. And now there's kids running on the field, so that's safe. And a random father. Get off. So crazy. I never understand how they actually get on the field. Like how fans still in today's day and age are hugging players after they score.
It's just this is what we never see from Lukaku though, and this is why this is a positive from United today is the speed on the break, because how often have we seen Lukaku playing like that this season where he's getting away himself. That is the strength of Lukaku. For all those people talking about his bad first touch, which he does have, and his build-up play is not very good, which it isn't, that's Lukaku. That's why Lukaku is a £75 million striker. But unfortunately, we don't use him like that enough because we don't move the ball from back to front quick enough. And when we do it, this is what happens. But we just don't do it. We move the ball too slow.
Well, we've always known Lukaku against the top teams is when he is not clinical. Against these teams, he plays unbelievably well and is perfectly suited to score in these situations. So if he does this against Sevilla, that's a nice thing to see. If he has that brick of a first touch, we could have a problem. But play like this, and he's a 90 million striker or more.
And the great thing is I actually can change it to 2-0 now. There's not going to be any stupid VAR decision. And technically, despite a really poor performance from United, and I've got to be honest, it has been poor, but we should be 3-0 up because we should have had a third as well. But it was Alexis Sanchez with the pass, yeah. I mean, Huddersfield are wide open on the break because they really are committing players to try and get a goal, which they don't have the quality to do in the final third so far. But Matthew McFadden, thanks for the contribution. He says, this may be a small opposition, but this is the Lukaku we love to see. Steamrolling teams with his pace and power. Love it. Yeah, exactly, Matthew. But he's got to have that space to run into. And he hasn't had that all season. And I'm pleased for Lukaku because he's on a hat-trick. But he's playing against a team who are pushing forward. And when we break fast, he's got the space there. And that's where he's deadly. How often have we seen this season United slowly waking their way from midfield to attack, and by the time we're in the attack, but the opposition have got a back four and a midfield four, and there's no space. Today, it's very quick on the attack, so that's a step forward. The midfield's not been great, but when we've got the ball, we have moved it very, very quick, which is a positive.
Yeah, I think Sanchez has played well the second half as well. I thought he set up that goal perfectly. Be interesting, Sanchez as a number 10. I mean, you think Martial starts against Sevilla?
I don't know. I mean, some people think Martial's finished at United, which is ridiculous. But yeah, okay. I think we'll know against Sevilla, won't we? If he plays, then he's become a bench player again, which is ridiculous. But
yeah, I mean, he's not done here. If someone buys him for $300 million, he'll be done here. That's about the only way he's leaving. Everyone should remember he's under contract, and they're not going to make the same mistake they made with Ronaldo. They're never sending anyone else out of here if they want to leave. I just don't see it. So I think that's the good thing about De Gea, too, is that he still has another year on the contract, so no matter what, they have leverage. And I think they have a club option, too. I think.
Mike Rollins makes a good point as well, that if we can get a third, which we do look quite capable of on the break, even though we've been poor, if we get a third, then we might see Angel Gomez come on. So, yeah. And we are breaking really, really well. This should be 3. Oh, the pass there is not good enough. See, that's the quality of players there. You've got a 3v1 and the passing's not good enough.
No. Another inch from Mata, but that's okay. He played well, and he should have had a goal. So, in our heads, it's 3-0.
We look alive now, says AJ Nell. Yeah. And also, Huddersfield, let's be honest, they're not a very good side. They're not. Whisper it, but they're not a very good side. How we lost to them in the league, I'll never know. I mean, we nearly got a draw. We should have got a draw. But if it was Lindelof, wasn't it, that game?
Mm-hmm. There's always one.
But they'll go down, Huddersfield.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else you think gets relegated?
Well, it's very tight at the bottom, isn't it, down there? But I think Huddersfield will go down. I think Huddersfield, Brighton, and Swansea.
Yeah, I like Swansea's new coach. I think he's good. It's funny, the teams from like 11 to 20 or 19 are separated by, I think it's 4 points or something.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. It's a bit like the race for the top 4 below City. Mm-hmm.
which I think is going to make it a very interesting finish for the season because there's going to be no team that's playing for nothing. Change the score.
I think it's well, we've still got half an hour left in this, so you know, 2-0 could become 5-0, and then you've got to be.
I want to see Gomez.
Yeah, I want to see Gomez. I think whatever happens, I do agree. I've seen a lot of the people saying it in the live comments. It's still a paper in the cracks performance, which I agree. I do. I think it is paper in the cracks. I think Huddersfield have dominated, but they just haven't got any quality. And we have had quality on the break, which has killed them.
Yeah.
Sanchez's ball to Lukaku's great there. If he can do something here, Mata. We're killing them on the break though. It's exciting on the break.
Yeah, Lukaku's playing unbelievably well, setting things up. He looks great. That's a penalty. Come on. I agree, AJ. United are playing phenomenal counter-attacking ball. They really are. And Huddersfield does not have the quality, it seems, to finish any good ball that they get. So, I mean, 2-0 should be enough for this game. It's amazing how composed Carrick is all the time.
Well, apparently the FA Cup draw is tonight as well.
Yeah. Could do it live on the stream.
Yeah, we'll do. See what time it is at.
Oh, that's a good stat. I hope it's correct. Tuanzebe made more tackles, more clearances, and won more aerial balls than any other player on the pitch as Villa lost 2-0 to Fulham. That's a good loan that we made. You know, if he's playing at the time, great job.
I think it's the first time they've played him though. He didn't play in the Birmingham derby last week, but I know a few Villa fans because I live in that area, and I said you've got to play him. He's he's not some little loan out United player and he's okay. I said he's the real deal. He should be playing for United more. In fact, Tuanzebe would have been brilliant to play in a game like this today. Stick him in the midfield.
Weird. I mean, when did Bailly go down?
Bailly's been injured a long time.
Like November? It was earlier than that, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, he didn't play a lot in November because it was Smalling, Rojo, and Lindelof. So, yeah.
I wonder when he got news that Bailly would be out this long. Because I wonder if he would have bought someone or taken someone back from loan if he knew.
Yeah, well, he would have known Bailly was out, and he still loaned out Tuanzebe. I mean, centre backs. I suppose we've got a lot of options, haven't we? You've got Lindelof, Jones, Smalling, Rojo, Blind. That's 5.
Yeah, they have a good selection of terrible centre backs. I hope they sell all of them except for Bailly and Rojo. Bring in Nuke's blood.
The FA Cup draw is tomorrow. Tonight, sorry, Spalakas 66. I know there are games tomorrow. City have still got to play as well, so I don't know why we're doing the draw tonight when it's not even. There are still games to come, but
because worst case scenario, the FA will make sure they advance.
I think Huddersfield's heads have dropped.
Yeah. That second goal killed them. Oh. Hey, Ewan. Thanks for joining. I never said Lindelof was bad. I do think that Lindelof needs work, but he'll be better. I think he was thrust into things a little quickly. And I do agree, Mata for Gomez would be a good sub. At this point, I'd love to see him. I think, but not with like 2 minutes left. Love to see him get like 15 minutes in this game. I think that'd be great.
8 o'clock tonight is the draw, says Chris Raddy, and I think it's 7:45. I've just had a look. Anyway, we will be live because we'll be doing the we'll be taking your calls at full time. Remember, we'll be taking your calls, Skype in at full time. Give us your thoughts on the game. It's interesting. We're 2-0 up. We're comfortable, but if you've actually watched the game, maybe you haven't watched the game. Maybe you've only just tuned in and you're like, what are people moaning about? If for people who've been watching this game, they will tell you the truth that United have been really poor, but clinical on a couple of occasions. We should be 3-0 up. The VAR decision was a joke, but there's no way United deserve to be 3-0 up. We don't, but you do, because goals are what win games, and the 2 goals from Lukaku were really good goals, but absolutely dominated in the midfield. If they had any quality, Huddersfield, this would have been a lot closer. So do call in and give us your say at full time. Still 23 minutes to go, so United look more likely to score than Huddersfield. The head seems to have dropped a bit. But subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're very close to 193,000 subscribers now. So subscribe and get involved with the United Stand and have your say. Another wayward pass by McTominay. Not been a very good performance from him again, Jared, in my mind. But I must say, Matic hasn't been much better. And if anyone wants to be critical of McTominay, it's Mourinho who says McTominay's something special. We've not seen it yet. That's on Mourinho. It's not on the young kid who's living his dream out playing for United. And also, I think more highlights... Matic needs to be highlighted more. He's a £40 million player. McTominay's been no worse than him.
No, he's been fine. Fine. Again, Matic was valuable because he destabilized Chelsea. You know, I don't know how much Mourinho really thought he was getting a 3-year player or one player and screwing over a team. You know, you never know how Jose's mind works.
Ariane thinks it'll be 4-0. David Green, Matic is the worst by far, a total non-factor. I think the embarrassing thing is that our midfield's been dominated, and that shouldn't happen when you're spending £40 million on a player.
Yeah. But nowadays, 40 million isn't that much. I think that's the other problem. They're saying Savage is going to go for 115 million pounds. You know, at that point, what's the discussion like?
Somebody just said there, it's like watching an under-17s game, and the quality has not been that good. Double substitution coming in for Huddersfield.
And I see Gomez might be warming up.
I think Lingard was warming up as well. I tell you what, Lingard would love this game. Get Jesse Lingard on and he'll score. This is exactly the sort of game for Jesse Lingard. Lots of space on the break for him to turn and run. Get Lingard on, he'll score in a game like this. He's not playing against 2 banks of 4 where he can't spin and score, so I would get him on.
Agree. Lindelof would be perfect in this game. Again, I think Gomez, Lindelof, Chong would have been fun to see. That would be a nice little 3. But 2-0, I'll take it.
I think Lukaku deserves a lot of credit. I think he's shown tonight what he's all about. That in this current United team, it doesn't suit him. It doesn't suit him camped on the edge of the opposition's box, looking for intricate passing. He wants quick play, playing on the last man. We need to, you know, Mourinho. That's the big positive for me tonight, is that Lukaku, we've seen what Lukaku's all about, and we know that Mourinho loves Lukaku. So if Mourinho wants to get the best out of Lukaku and make the crowd love Lukaku, he's got to play like this more. Fast break.
Yeah, if he gets the right service, he'll be okay. Yeah, hopefully he can stay clinical. But he played really well today.
How long have we got, says Noodles? 20 minutes. we should be home and hosed in this. As I said from the first minute, Huddersfield can play as well as they've played, and they have played well in their build-up play and their tenacity. But they just haven't got the quality, and it's probably what will send them down. They just haven't got the quality in the final third. They've had more than enough of the ball. They've had more than enough. I mean, even in the first 5 minutes of this second half, they had two really good positions for free kicks and hit them into the wall. But they're a team that a number of years ago were playing what? Second division football. They're living the dream, playing in the Premier League, but they're not a good team. They're not a good team.
No, but we've had a lot of games this season where we have not shown up against subpar opposition. I mean, Newcastle, Stoke, Huddersfield. It's a problem, a consistent problem. Where if we had a better midfield and a better defense, I think we would be more balanced, and I think these issues wouldn't come up.
We will be on for the draw. Chris Radicum. No, Lukaku nearly with his hat-trick there. You feel there's a third goal coming for United any moment, and not that moment.
Come on. Every time there's a stoppage in play, I hope for a sub.
It doesn't look like there's a sub coming on for United. I can't see anybody in red on the far side as I was looking over at the dugout.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Here we go, Luke. Shaw's gotten a lot of work today.
I still don't understand why that's given offside, even though his knee is slightly offside. That shouldn't be given offside.
No, but what about the guy? Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. If that's what VAR is here for, we're on for quite a unbelievable disaster. But I honestly don't think if that was someone else not on United that would have been given. I think they would have just kept the goal. If it was on the opposite end and Huddersfield scored it, I don't think it would have been pulled back. Honestly.
Ooh, good back by Matic there.
They're still playing Huddersfield. Good for them.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, they've had quite a few shots. It's just the quality isn't there. You know, you stick Lukaku and Sanchez in their attack. This should be 4. This should be 3-0. We've got a 4-on-3. No, final ball again. We've had the opportunities. I agree with you, Chris. I would love a home draw in the quarterfinals against the worst team in the tournament. And I would like to see. I'd like to see Man City get a Chelsea still in it, or Spurs. I'd love to Liverpool in. No, Liverpool are out, aren't they? Liverpool and Arsenal are out. So yeah, I'd love to see City get Chelsea or Spurs, and I'd love us to get the worst team in it at home, because it's the cup. I don't, you just want to get to the final. I want all the good teams to go out. I think it's hilarious how poor the Europa League was last year and we won it. And then you look at what Arsenal have got to do to win it this year. The amount of decent teams are in it, like Atletico Madrid and Napoli and Dortmund. And they're going to have to work very hard to win that. And we didn't. Well, we did. We weren't very good, but the opposition were crap.
Yeah. I mean, last year he did what he needed to do. I do not see Arsenal beating those teams.
Martial's on for Sanchez. You'd fancy a Martial goal against this lot.
Yeah. All right, nice work. Yeah, Coventry at home. I'll take that, Mark Crisp.
Are they? I thought Coventry were out. Didn't they lose to Swansea?
I have no idea, honestly. I don't know where Coventry is.
I think Sheffield Wednesday are still in it.
Team, I'll take them.
I think Sheffield Wednesday and Brighton are still in it, so. Well, miracles apart, I think United are going to be in it, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, Coventry lost to Brighton.
God, Ashley Young just got done on toast there, but again, final ball lacking from Huddersfield, and
Oh. I just read Sanchez doesn't look happy when I see him playing for United. Always frustrated. I actually think that is just how he looks when he plays football.
oh yeah, he was exactly the same at Arsenal.
Honestly, yeah. Even when they won at Chile, I never saw him happy. The most intense football player I've ever watched is Alexis Sanchez, I think. Mm-hmm.
So Huddersfield still probing. They probably deserve a goal, but well, do they really? The final, the quality in the final third has been not really there. But they've probably destroyed us in relation to possession. But quick possession on the attack. I think United's most disappointing aspect has been the midfield. The defence has been okay. I think Lindelof and Smalling have done all right.
Yeah, I mean, job done. They're 55% ball possession. You know what's crazy? They have 17 goal attempts, and I want to say they outplayed us because they didn't, but they had a good game.
So look what they're saying. We should sell Rashford, says Adam Collins. He is injured. He's not been picked. He's just injured. Herrera's injured. Rashford's injured. Pogba's sick. We need some of them players back, definitely, for Sevilla. I mean, this midfield would get absolutely sent back to England and bubble wrapped if it plays against Sevilla on Wednesday night. We will be in a lot of trouble. I'm sure Pogba will be back.
Yeah, you have to think they'll all be back. I also think Baye will play. I'm hoping.
I do think though, United, the 2 goals we've scored today, really, really good. Huddersfield have obviously dominated possession without having the quality to hurt us. But if we keep playing like this, I do think we're going to be on the end of a big beating before the end of the season, because we've not been good today. The goals have been good. I've enjoyed the goals and I've enjoyed the pace of them, and I've loved to see Lukaku twice stretching their defence and running into space. It's been great, but this time we'll struggle against the good team.
Yeah, I mean, against Huddersfield, Lukaku got a job done. Against Sevilla, if they play like this, it's going to be a very tough game for us. Yeah, and Lingard is coming on, it looks like. Well, he's waiting to come on.
I don't get it with McTominay still. How many more games are people going to have to watch him to sort of say what he's all about? I just don't get it. Another 90 minutes and still I can't see what he brings other than okay passing, okay tackling. There's just nothing to his game that makes me think you are going to be a championship player. Just very, very average. And an average might be generous. Lingard's coming on for Mata.
Yeah, he's tall. That's all I mean, that to me is his one trait that no one can really. You can't really buy height. He's massive. So if he got bigger, maybe Jose sees something, but I don't, I mean, yes, he's tall. So maybe Jose wants to set him up to be Fellaini when Fellaini leaves. If Fellaini leaves.
God, yeah. Get rid of Fellaini and replace him with a youngster who's 21 who could be here for longer than I'm going to be alive. Great.
Yep. I mean, because I don't think Fellaini is if Fellaini signed a contract outside of United, it's a safe bet he's not touching this field again. Because Mourinho will not sit well with that. Which would be fun, too. Toss his ass out of here. Ten minutes left. Yeah, I mean, you're right. These are the games that show why we have Lukaku. Very few strikers who can do what he did today. Reminds me of like a better Diego Costa at points.
Oh, the pace! He's such a fast player when he's got ground to run into. We don't see Lukaku's pace because he doesn't have space to run into, and he's not quick over for the first 5 yards. So when he's when he's always playing on that last man and it's slow build-up play, there's no opportunity to really stretch his legs. Twice today, he's got the opportunity to stretch his legs, and no one's been able to live with him. And we need to figure out a way to do that more often. But the only way we can do that more often is moving the ball quickly from back to front.
Yeah, I mean, our counter-attack play needs to get quicker, and once it does, I think we're going to start battering people. I think it's just been tough because we have such a slow midfield. It's tough to keep up. And then once they catch up, Lukaku is not as good. And when he doesn't get the right service, when he has people all over him, I feel like a lot of our team needs space to operate.
It's easy for United now. Huddersfield know they're going out. Lots more space for United. Oh, lovely. Oh, Lingard, what are you doing? The flick from Martial there was amazing. We're only 46 subscribers away from 193,000, so click and subscribe if you're new. It'd be nice to hit that before the end of the show. Bottom right hand corner to do it. Get involved with the United stand. We've got the call in straight after the game. Maybe you've got some things you want to talk about the match today. You might have been really impressed by it. You might think it flatters us. You might have some concerns about the way United have set up today. You might think this is the way we should play. So get calling in, give us your thoughts. That'll be from full time. Corner for Huddersfield here. Can they set up a grandstand finish? Adam Collins and a few others are saying, please get Angel Gomez on. He might come on. Well, if he comes on now, what's he coming on for? A couple of minutes?
Well, I mean, that's a big complaint about this game. I'm happy we won, but this is a game where people like him should be playing. There's no question. None.
Oh, see, nearly a goal for Huddersfield there late on. That would have set it up for an exciting finish. I'm reading people saying a solid performance from United, which is interesting.
It's a solid performance from people on United, not a solid team performance, in my opinion. I think Lukaku played phenomenal. Saved the team at points, and Sanchez set him up well. Yeah, they picked it up after that first 10 minutes. However, when Huddersfield has 18 shots and we have 5, that's definitely not the best stat to see. But 2 shots on target, 2 goals for us. So, clinical.
Well, the most important thing today was to be in the draw, and we will be in the draw for the FA Cup quarter-final in about half an hour's time, 45 minutes time. So that's the main thing.
When's the next game for the FA Cup?
I don't think the quarter-finals are until sort of end of March time. So, of course, what that means is when you get to this point is that Premier League games do start then. So if you've got a Premier League game, there will be, if you're out the cup, there will be Premier League games ongoing, and yours will get rearranged. So we'll start seeing, we'll start ending up games in hand.
Right, I don't mind that.
Come on then, everybody. Get in the live comments and give us your mark out of 10 for United today. Was it park in the bus? Sorry, was it paper in the cracks? Was it deserving of more praise than it has been? Was the midfield dominated? How would you mark United out of 10 today? See what people have got to say. Boring United, says Johnny Arty. It's been underwhelming, says DH756. Jose killed Manchester United, says Sandash. Just not enjoying the football like crawling through treacle, says Firefly99. Go on, Tony.
Get that.
Martial. Oh, the cutback's good. There's no one there.
Lingard was posting on Snapchat.
A lot of people giving it a 6, 6, 5, 4, 7 from FIFA Legend 18. That's the highest one yet. 6, 1, 4, 6, 3, 7 from Midget James. 8, Conor Gray. 6, 2, 5, 5, 4, 6, 8 from Mohamed Hamza. He's easily pleased. Dazza, peace and love, 7.
10 out of 10, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, 10 out of 10.
Ah.
And yeah, I think 6 stroke 5 is the general consensus. 9 out of 10 from DJ Tommy B. I think he's just done that so we'll read his comment, to be honest. I don't think you believe it, Tommy. I think people are just putting high marks now just for it to be read out. So
11 out of 10, yeah, great.
I think, to be fair, the honest answer is that a couple of good individual performances have got us the points, especially Lukaku.
Yeah. Lukaku was good. The defense was good.
But that's what you pay the money for. 75 million, and he's won us the game today.
I better not.
Huddersfield looking for a grandstand finish here. I think United might get a goal on the break. Oh no, we won't go on the break because we're parking the bus. There's too many back. I don't think Huddersfield would score today if they played till tomorrow.
1, 2, 3. It is annoying to see our entire team behind the ball. I don't like it. To be honest, I think that's the one thing I wish we could work on. I mean, I'll deal with it for the rest of this season, but next season, this would not be. I want to see them crushing teams. Embarrassing teams.
I mean, people won't like this comment I'm about to make, but the reality is somebody like Man City or even Liverpool would stuff this Huddersfield team, probably 5 or 6-0 by half time. And people will say, oh no, stop talking about them. They're in our league and they are above us. We have to compare ourselves to them because that's the standard we need to get to. So you've got to mention them. And I know people don't like it, but you have to, because that is the standard we need to get to. And you know, it may not happen now, but it needs to happen at some point. Martial breaking ankles again. Got a corner here. Oh, the skills.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the Gomez thing, I think it was an okay performance, workman-like performance. And then Lukaku was better than the rating for the rest of the team. I mean, he gets to me like an 8 or a 9. He was excellent.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, Jared, before you go, because we are getting close towards the end of the game now. When it comes to your man of the match today, is it as simple as Lukaku?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he won us the game, and and both goals were individual skill that brought the goal. Even though Sanchez set up the second one, Lukaku finished each goal, which is one of our biggest complaints about him and my biggest complaint. So for someone like him to be able to finish twice, good job. Done. He killed it. I was happy with him.
I'm only surprised, you know, as good as Huddersfield have been, I'm only surprised that United haven't got a third goal, because we've had so many opportunities to sort of kill them off on the break, and we've just not been clinical enough. And maybe 2-0 sort of flatters us in relation to the way we've played, but I still think the quality that we've got, we should have gone on and got a few more goals.
Yeah.
Especially in this last 20-minute phase where Huddersfield have looked, you know, beat.
Yeah, I mean, there's many times this year where we have been content with 1-0, 2-0, and we could have gotten more. But again, I think that's a next year problem. This year, we need top 4. We need to win the FA Cup, make a run in the Champions League, and buy the right team, and then move forward with the youth we have, I think.
All the clicking you can hear is I'm just setting up the live stream for the call-in show, which you can call in and have your say with.
I'm curious to hear what people have to say.
Eric Bailly's going to come on for a minute. I mean, what's that all about? What is that substitution all about? We're winning by 2 goals. They're not going to get 2 goals in a minute. So why are we bringing Eric Bailly on? I never understand that.
I agree. I'm also moderately excited that he's coming back into our game, and hopefully this is a good example of what's happening in the future. We're just going to play him from going forward. I mean, we've missed him so much. It's unbelievable. If he's actually fit and ready to go, it's going to be huge for the rest of the season. Huge. Yeah, Gomez, I get it. I wanted to see Gomez too, but I don't actually care for 30 seconds to see him.
No, there's no point.
Yeah. But it was good. Great game. Great win, I should say.
Yeah, well, we'll be in that draw, and we will be reacting to that draw. Remember, you can join us straight after this. The match reaction stream is in the link in the video description. It's the top one, and we will be there very, very quickly. So make sure you join us over there. But thanks for coming on, Jared.
It was fun. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks,
soon.
Pal. I'll speak to you soon. That is the end of the game. Thanks to Jared. Thanks to everybody who's been watching. Really, really enjoyed having you with us, and want to take some of your calls now. So the link is in the video description. Literally going to go over there and start the stream and start taking your calls. Is it not somehow ironic that we're praising a 75 million striker being able to finish for once, says Minnie Mourner. Maybe you'd like to call in, Minnie, and give us your thoughts. Get over there, match reaction stream, link in the video description, or go through the homepage. It's Huddersfield 0-2, Lukaku goals, win it. And I'll see you there in a moment.